We're heading into our second series of the day, everybody. Is BIFROST versus MNM. And the first series we thought was going to be closer, but Galaxy Racer came out and smashed it 2-0. Everybody came into this series really expecting BIFROST to be the favorites here. Now, obviously, we have had some changes on the MNM roster. We have a new AD carry and a new jungler coming in for the team. And Jamada, what do you make of these two new faces coming onto MNM?
Well, I don't really know much about their new bottom laner, but I do know a little bit about Camille, as I believe he's been around the block a little bit. He's been kind of everywhere, quite literally. And I do recall he also filled in somewhere in the UKLC during, it was either last split or even this split, maybe. So, yeah, I know he's okay. I don't know if he's going to be the kind of replacement necessary for this MNM team, though. That's the thing. I'm not sure. Because to me, MNM, it seems like on the Rift, they kind of lacked some kind of leadership, right? Because it goes past that 15-minute mark, and all of a sudden they lost any kind of cohesiveness that they occasionally might have had. And a lot of that can come from the jungle role. So we'll have to see how much of an impact, obviously, as an individual, you can see him make visibly. But sub for sub, are they going to make the difference? I'm not sure, because MNM team wasn't necessarily too convincing.
The thing here is that whenever we were talking in general about MNM throughout the whole regular split, it was all about Raxi, it was all about the jungler, it was all about the Prodigy, it was all about the 2019 Summer Champion coming back in, trying to prove himself yet again through the Nordics, and he was the difference maker. Like, when MNM was doing well, it was through Raxi, it was through his playmaking, it was through him creating opportunities. So I think Camille coming here has... yes, big shoes to fill in the sense that you now have to be that person. You now have to be the person that puts all the pawns, on the right order and tries to lead them forward.
We are now going into the first pick here for MNM. We've had a lot of jungle target bans right now. We've got the Echo ban, obviously, as well, which is something that BIFROST had banned against them 100% of the time. The Tristana left
5
open,
out of 6?
though.
No, it's 4 out of 6, okay.
4 out of 6. I mean, it's Tristana left open, though, and it will be first picked up by MNM.
Yeah, Tristana, really powerful in this patch. We've seen a lot of prominence of the pick in recency, and it scales well. It deals heavily with a lot of the meta AD carries in the bottom side. It has a really strong laning phase in the solo lanes. So a lot of flexibility here. I can honestly see even Bobista or Divine all piling the champion, but BIFROST respond immediately with this Karthus and Lucian lane. And Tanu, honestly, BIFROST had a game where they were running Karthus, Nocturne, and Taric. And let me tell you, that was a really scary combination. Now, we'll have to see how they're going to sort of fare without that Nocturne. But MNM, they're going to respond with Lilia, of course, can more than match pace with the Karthus in the early stages. And Alistar, relatively safe blind with the Thresh gone and the Rel sort of removed away. You could see Gragas come in as sort of a flex option here for BIFROST if they really feel it's necessary. Because right now, they don't really have to show many more of their cards outside of the fact they pick Karthus.
That'll be Galio. There we go.
This is what I wanted to say. In the previous series, we saw that the Galio matched really well against the Karthus because you can buy the Solari, you can provide the resistance with the Galio ulti coming down, the shield and everything. So it was just a really big problem for the Karthus to get in once the Galio was locked in the previous game we just watched. He just couldn't move forward. But right here, them peeking the Galio, that means that the Karthus will be staying that much more alive the second he goes into the fight, the second he presses flash to get in the backline and try to completely be a nuisance on the carry. So I do really like that they grab the Galio right here, and they still keep the double flex, if not triple flex, because sometimes we have seen Karthus ADC. Like, I know from Unforgiven, this guy loves to take the Karthus down bot lane and just play that. So this is a triple flex coming here from BIFROST.
Yeah, I'm a pretty big fan of both of these draft openings so far, simply because one, there's a lot of flexibility, and two, these champions can also go anywhere they kind of need to, but they're not geared to having to go either really far in or necessarily really far back either. They can kind of do everything right now. So I think BIFROST are going to have to really take care with their R4 pick to not necessarily force any particular set of champions to have to do one thing which they might not necessarily want to, especially into the MNM draft, where realistically they're pretty comfortable drafting something that can just sit back and then let BIFROST come into them and sort of force maybe some kind of range advantage. But the bans, everything's relatively short ranged.
To me, the Malphite ban screams that the Lucian is not going to be the ADC here. It's going to be the mid laner, and they are planning to get some sort of immobile ADC sitting in the back line. The Caitlyn is still open. The Jinx is still open. They can choose to pick whatever they want. And I think MNM Gaming kind of got the memo here, and they could potentially try to fight the Lucian in the mid lane with the Tristana. Extremely hard pushing lane as well. Nope, they're trolling us. That was not the misfortune lock-in.
No, but it is the Sion lock-in, which is a matchup we've seen quite a lot of.
Yeah.
Sion does not win that, but he does essentially just kind of take the beating with grace. He doesn't, exactly, get absolutely smashed. So we'll see Babes to take that to the top lane. We'll see if MNM do choose to rotate that Tristana mid or not. And this last pick will identify.
It could be a huge shakeup right here if the Sion does pull the cheese, as we call it, and start from his own red buff, and then they try to sort of steal a buff off of the Karthus, try to delay his power spike, try to delay all the farm, and again they're gonna put the Tristana over versus the Lucian. I think it does make sense. She pushes a lot. The thing that Lucian is really good at is being so oppressive in the mid lane, so obnoxious to deal with, and I think Tristana has more than enough for the pushing power to deal with him. Also has the jumps, and yeah, I just really like what MNM have come up with here.
Yeah, my only personal query is I think you maybe would have preferred the Zarya a little bit more over the Kai'Sa here, just because of sort of the rest of the composition. But Kai'Sa can still kite back anyway. She's got enough self-peel tools of her own, so it's more like a small optimization thing. I think the Sion pick here does really well into a lot of these Bifrost champions because they're not necessarily the greatest sort of tank killer shredder champions, right? Yes, they can deal a lot of DPS, don't get me wrong. But Sion, once he sort of pushes past that sort of 25-ish minute mark, he's really going to be an obnoxious meat shield that Bifrost's going to have to pump a lot of resources if they want to take him down.
Yeah, you don't have any like particular tank killers for Bifrost. Like, he'll soak Karthus Q's, he'll soak Lucian's damage, he'll soak Zarya's damage. So definitely something that could be an interesting point for the MNM roster. Trouble did mention that she kind of liked what MNM were doing here, and I'm interested. Let's see how this game goes on, because MNM do come in even as the NLC team, the underdogs in this scenario. Bifrost coming as the Telia Master winners, surprising everybody by getting to that stage and actually winning the tournament. I'm really excited to see how they stack up against MNM with a sub coming into the jungle and the AD carry role. Send it over to our casters, Gulborg and Hiprain again for our second series.
Thank you very much, Scoundrel. Hello and welcome to the cast desk as we are getting ready to go into our second series of the day. Hope you're holding in there still. Quick 2-0 realistically coming up from Galaxy Racer, and we really thought Bifrost were going to be able to 2-0 MNM in this series. Question is Camille, is Divine going to kind of, really make a change? Because honestly, it was a very poor season from MNM.
So I've actually been following Camille while he was in the TCL on Aurora, and if he's listening to this after he's played, he's probably known that doesn't mean a lot of good things coming into this game. On Aurora, he was put on a lot of Hecarims. They ended up going 0-5, and then the mid laner, Camille, and I think the bot laner or somebody else was swapped out from the team, just benched because it didn't really go so far. To be fair to them, Aurora in general ended up going 0-16. So I think it's just like something just didn't work up in that team whatsoever, but he's still definitely, I think he's got a lot to prove here. He came from a split in the TCL where it did not work out for him. If you want to prove yourself that you're still a brilliant jungler, I think you've set yourself up for it in this draft, where if you have priority around it, and you have you're actually this Lilia that can play around the priority with the clear. But I think both team composition very much look like each other here, Jake. You got this, you got the 280 mid laners, you got the AP junglers, and then you got the classic Gnar into Sion matchup, and then it's the Kai'Sa into Xayah. It's very much 11.5 this right here.
Oh, Bruland completely shutting down what MNM were looking to do there. Cheeky ward. MNM are just going to 5-man stack towards this blue side though, going for an invade. We might just see the map get split in half. I'm kind of talking about proving yourself, a great way to prove yourself is re-qualify for the NLC on this team who have had a pretty poor season. But also, for MNM, this is a real pride thing for them. They've been in relegations now for both seasons of the NLC. They were able to re-qualify in the last time in the summer, 2020 summer. But other than that, they've not had a great NLC performance at all for their entire time here. And MNM are a team that have been in the UK circuit, at least, for a pretty long time. They've been around for a while now. They've been, a mainstay. At one point, they were the champions of the UK scene. Now, no, it's not the UK anymore. It's the UK and Nordics. But
yeah, but
to lose that representation in this new combined league, it's really bad. And especially when it is a team like MNM, a team who, I as long as I followed them, I've always had fairly high expectations of them.
And that's the thing. Even then, like us people in the Nordics, like we have it the same way. We haven't really followed much of UKLC, but MNM has always been a name that we've known.
Yeah, I mean they were about a year and a half, 2 years ago, the Academy Killer team. Back when we had some of the early UKLC seasons, it was the likes of Yusa on MNM and stuff like that who were able to deal with XL and Fnatic back in the reign of the tower.
That glorious format.
Yeah, don't ever talk about the tower. But they were the Academy Killer team, and since the NLC, I still kind of kept that Academy Killer kind of mindset going into the NLC for them, and they've not had that. They've not had that performance, unfortunately, from them, and it's really down to them to kind of pick themselves up. But realistically, I would argue they are the weakest team in relegations right now. It's on them to prove me wrong on that fact.
Yeah, for sure. And that's kind of the thing, because that's reality. That's what you think from the UK, but ever since NLC has been a thing, MNM has always ended up in relegations. And that is just a fact at this point. We've only had 2 seasons, yes, but even then, going 2 times into relegations is never something you want to do as an organization. And to take this kind of into the game, because we are in the game, the first game between this relegation, I think a lot of it is going to be around the pressure you can get from the jungles. Again, you have to fast clearing Karthus, you have to fast clear Lilia, and the question is, what are they going to be doing with all this fast clear? You can see right now, Camel is on the way top side, while on the bot side, Tano is clearing out on this scuttle. And I think it's going to come down to what we saw in the last series as well. It's the reset. It's what you're going to do when you get out of the map again, and what can you make of it. As Neverlucky in the mid lane.
He's got the flash, he's got the follow-up. Oh! Air! Taken out!
And that's the Yikes right there. Just when I was going on about how this is going to be about the jungle, Neverlucky with the exhaust of all things, not even an ignite, but he's not going to need that. It comes in with the auto attack, and what I believe to be a very much delayed. Actually, no, what was the last tick that just killed him? That looked really interesting. Yeah, I don't know. All right, so let's take a look onto it again. The exhaust going to come down here. And yes, it is a caster minion right there. Boop. And then it procs.
Oh, it went invisible. That's why it was hard to see what it was. But yeah, there was a minion auto attack did it. Now Blue gets himself the knock up onto Tide. Tide getting pulled in. As Divine's trying to put the damage in. They've got the Taunt. They're trying to get this damage into Tide. One more spot and they get the Void, but they're unable to collapse it. And now Camille's making his way over. Throws down the swirl seed, and it goes a little bit too wide. BIFROST able to survive the onslaught from MNM in this bot side. A lot of summoner spells were burnt though.
Yeah, but I was sure that Tide was just going to go down there. As soon as Brolin missed that dash, I was like, all right, that's over. You're not looking too hot right now, but make it work with the disengage. And time spent, but you know what, Camel, he was clearing his bot side anyway, so it's fine. But at the same time, Tano now with level 5 on this Karthus, with the pressure you're going to be gaining from that bot lane exchange, and Neverlucky being up ahead with the kill he got in the mid lane, you can only think that the first Drake should be go over to the side of BIFROST, just because they're going to have the priority to play around. And that's something you'd love to do when you already have some late game in your team. Like the fact that you can start up early objectives with Karthus, absolutely amazing.
Beast actually taking a pretty nice trade there versus Kez, although Kez is about to gnaw out, so does it around it. Oh, hello. A lot of damage. Actually goes in for the Roar of the Slayer. Kez has the flash. But Beast are kind of killing it right now.
And certainly, you can tell from both the last series, but this series as well, it's very much about the individuality in lane as well. How do we play it out? How's the wave management right now? But Beast are doing a good job at keeping it right outside his tower. And then he's having to go a bit too far forward, happened to flash away just barely with his life intact as well. So a lot of skill checks coming out once again, Jake.
That's what I like to see. I like to see these high octane, high chaos games. Now, Cloud Drake was picked up by Tanu. That's actually a really nice one for a Karthus to get early. That 10% extra ability ace on your ulti. It does have some impact. It does actually do something. As Neverlucky going to culling the wave. And Blue a little bit as Taunt's going to come over the wall, but Blue able to avoid that from Berlin.
Speaking of Neverlucky and just that kill he got there, I think it's so interesting that we finally get to see teams. Oh, they might be.
They stole it away. They got the lilting lullaby. This is going to be a quick kill. Camel able to get it, and now they're jumping in onto Broland. He's putting the taunt down, but they've already got all the damage they need, and bop! Goomba stomps onto Bruland and takes him down.
And just not priority around it, staying around for too long after getting that Drake. Priority was not there. The roam came in for blue. They gave them priority in the mid lane, and that just made sure that Tanu could not stay for that scuttle, forced away in 2 kills going over to the side of MNM Gaming. Much needed, especially after that solo kill coming out from Never Lucky. Both from a gold point of view, but also starting out the game with your mid laner being first blooded. That's never what you want as a mentality in the team talk either. So definitely very clear and clean. You can come in and get the kill here. And Camel, of all people, which we had said that he needed to show up, and so he did.
Well, as we come out of the replay, we can take a look at where we are. Item-wise. Noon Quiver now finished up onto air. Never Lucky probably will have his on his reset anyway, so he'll be okay on that front. There is a cull in Air's pocket as he is slowly stacking that up. Divine went for the pickaxe and double longsword. Didn't actually quite get enough gold for a Noon Quiver for himself. And there's a lane swap coming out from MNM. They're bringing Divine up towards this top side. The attention is very much towards getting the early Rift Herald and turning that into some plate gold. Maybe first tower gold as well as blue. Already in the area, dealing with the wave as Never Lucky went for a delayed reset. So MNM are first onto the map. That means they have a grip hold as far as the vision goes around this river.
Yeah, and you can see they don't want to push in the wave immediately at the top side. They want to make sure that they can have this priority as long as possible, especially when Tide haven't even made his way up there. So when you stack this wave, you also have multiple minion waves that Tide has to answer, not because he doesn't want to miss out of it. Never Lucky in the mid lane though.
Yeah, he gets chunked out. That's probably enough to start the Rift Herald. Half healthing Never Lucky, and not really losing much. Like Ed didn't really do much other than W for that, so nice and easy for him. And now MNM are going to look to pick up this Rift Herald. You got blue to come and help it with it as well, as Babista's just on zoning duty. Breland just about avoiding that decimating smash. The Winds of War helping him see what's going on.
Yeah, the question is how much are they losing right now in the bot side? You can see now Babista having to TP back bot because of the top lane of Keys just staying up down there, getting all that played. And honestly, I would have loved if you were Bifrost, that could have been tied instead, just because of the fact that you're not able to contest the Rift Herald anyway. So if you could have gotten some solo plates onto him, that would have been absolutely amazing and could give you that extra boost in terms of being ahead of the curve with the opposition of the AD carry, but not going to come through. So what we will need to see from this bot, both bot laners up here, is that they need to come in with a clash so they can reset for the bot side, because Drake is spawning in 1 minute. You don't want to miss out on that. You need to get the reset through. So you can see Tide already now trying to push it in desperately, and then he's going to go for that recall so they can set up for the Infernal Drake and possibly the second Drake for Bifrost.
MNM may just look to give it up if they want. Divine's actually just freezing the lane, so yeah, it actually looks like they're not even bothering with contesting it.
So I think when you make that call, because it can actually be very clever. If you feel right now that you're in a position where you don't want to contest that Drake, you can just let Divine sit and chill up there and go for the cross map. Right now, Keys is missing out because it's freezing towards him, so that minion wave will just automatically knock down the minions of MNM. And the setup, yes, it's going to go down to the side of Bifrost, but then you can just try and contest for the third Drake anyway, because the 2 Drakes, it's not unusual that you give them over. It's when you get to that soul point that it starts getting a bit more pressured, but actually having screwed up the freeze a bit, it seems like it's going to start a slow push to back to freeze here. And you can see that Divine forced to break up the freeze, and now Keys can just pick it up. So maybe a bit of a misplay and should be a free Drake going over to the side of Bifrost.
Maybe I'd like to, well, what I'd like to see is now Camille come towards the top lane and maybe help Divine get some plates and maybe first Tower of Blood if they are going to trade so much. As Tide caught out by the decimating smash, but Babista is doing a nice little bit of damage to him. Feathers being laid down, not quite enough to root him actually. I say that and they do. Tide gets chunked, and that's going to be all they wrote on that one, as this tower is going to be going into execute range. Dragon is secured, but the race for first Tower of Blood is breaking out, and I think MNM are going to be the ones who come out on top of this one.
For sure. I think that I'm going to eat my own words here. It was not a misplay whatsoever. They never want to start that freeze. They just wanted to keep the wave there. So Divine, as soon as he knew that the bot lane was going for Drake, they could start setting up that stacked wave with the Herald to go in there. Oh, Feathers.
Babisa. A little bit too greedy there. He's going to try and run towards Brulan, but can't get in range. Is tried to clear out that last tower, last wave to make sure the plate didn't go down, and ultimately loses his life for it. Pretty greedy there from Babisa, but wave's going to crash in, and Divine going to miss out on a fair amount of that. We can actually see the individual golds right now. There's a lead for Divine over Tide, 500 up. Top lane is up as well. There's a jungle lead for MNM. Camille, new jungler for the team. So the two new players for MNM are the ones who are having a pretty good game right now.
Yeah, this is the best we've seen MNM right now. Like, the fact that you're actually able to cross-map here is absolutely insane. The MNM we saw in the NLC, they would just watch their opponent start an objective and they'd do nothing about it. They wouldn't go for a cross-map, they wouldn't do much, they wouldn't find their leads elsewhere. And right now, they're doing that, so that's absolutely amazing seeing from MNM, especially in relegation, because this is when you need to turn up.
Much better showing from them now. That tower bot lane is pretty close to going down. So the gold lead that MNM have is on shaky ground at best. So I'd like to have a quick toggle back and see the items right now, see where we are. Yeah, Kraken Slayer's finished up for Divine. He's also got 2 longswords, so he's pretty close to getting the upgrade. As Tide's actually just going to jump in, tanking that tower. Tide underneath fire as Divine will just about be able to finish him off. And now they're looking for Broland. Camille looking to put a couple of members to sleep as he throws out the Lilting Lullaby, but the Justice Punch is enough to get Broland away to safety. And now bot lane tower going to get fired at by MNM here. That gold lead I was talking about, but was on shaky ground. Suddenly it's just got a whole lot sturdier.
Yeah, it just seems like they're way more proactive here. You can see it's actually coming through Camel as well. Divine being the vocal point that you're going for, and then the support is there to back him up. They get the wave stacked in on the turret, they go for the dive, and it's beautiful. No cross map is coming through outside of mid lane, just being pushed in by Never Lucky, but really that's about it that you're getting, and it's gaining MNM these gold leads that you can see right now. So yes, BIFROST has 2 Drakes, but meanwhile they gave those objectives over. MNM has been doing a better job at getting the gold that was able to get on the map.
Well, 13 minutes on the clock. It is a 2,000, 3,000-ish gold lead over to MNM. Plates are going to finally fall off. Air on this Tristana hasn't really been able to get too many plates. It's kind of one of the things I think of when I think of Tristana is tower killing madness, but I guess the Lucian getting that first kill and kind of just having good lane pressure over her means that hasn't quite been able to do there. As BIFROST will find their first tower in the bot lane.
And that's kind of the thing about the matchup as well, because Air, the way he's been playing this, Tristana Jake, it's been about getting priority quickly, but not going for any plates or anything like that or damage onto the turret. It's been about getting the priority so he can move around the map and support his team, because every time they've been going for something, it's been Air who's been there before Never Lucky. So yes, Never Lucky up a level right now and up in CS, did get his mythic item before Air as well. But at the same time, you kind of need to be comparing the AD carries, because that's where Air has been spending your resources. He's been spending his resources to get Divine ahead, and that's what's been working for him.
It really has. The Rated Dirk and the Kraken Slayer onto Divine right now. Kraken Slayer onto Air. Feels pretty bad to be Broland and Kez, because you're going to be able to get tanky, but with double Kraken Slayer AD carries, and I'm expecting to see some Lord Doms coming through at some point fairly soon as well. It's going to be pretty rough. You're going to get melted through fairly quickly. Also, Camille with that Leandries on the way as well. Bit of burning, just health percent damage. Just kind of stacking true damage and burns. Got to make these tanks' lives really hard.
But let's try and set this up now, Drake, because there is 30 seconds until the Drake. You can see lane assignments absolutely mimicked. Support and junglers just facing off each other. Bot lane and the mid lane. And the mid laners towards the bot laners, so it's trying to keep that priority going for them. Reset are coming through now from Never Lucky a bit late, 20 seconds until the Drake started, and you can see at the same time, Kiers, is he doing the Rift Herald right now? What is he doing?
Yes, yeah, he's actually just soloing Rift Herald.
Oh. Great, alright, so meanwhile he did that, but Bister just got so much priority in the top lane, he's losing a big wave, but if they can win this Drake fight and get a mid lane tower afterwards, it might just be worth it.
Well, they're going to throw the Herald down nice and early. The Wall of Pain has come up as Blue's onto the flank. Camille flashes forward, but they jump straight in onto Blue. There's the knock-up. Already, Tanu's lost his life as Divine slides in onto the backline. That's the second kill, picked up for MNM. BIFROST, though, they are not done yet. As I say that, MNM able to put some distance between them and the members of Bifrost, and they're going to get out scot-free. 2 kills. Herald dissuaded. And the Dragon's going to get started. Is actually, I say that, Blue's going to jump in forward. The taunt lands on the both AD carries, but they just cut through the health bars. Air now getting jumped onto. Never Lucky going low. Tide free firing out. Air jumps in onto the backline. It's a double kill for him. Camille gets the ace. And MNM back to the Baron. Back to the Dragon, sorry. A bit early for Baron.
Yeah, maybe. So we can wait 3 more minutes and then you kick on to that. But really messy fight coming down from this side. I thought MNM would have just had it here, but you gotta give praise to MNM. This is what they've been working for. This is them finally collecting that depth that they've been collecting from the side of Bifrost. Oh, I say that. Tano is actually on his way back, and he does have Smite.
There is no Lilting Lullaby, although there is a slight level lead, so it's quite hard to do with the lay waste, though. It's going to be stolen away. That is now sole point for Bifrost. What? I am actually speechless at the fact that Blue went for a reset there. Like, genuinely speechless that Blue went for a reset there. He could have zoned Tanu away, and that would have been a secured Dragon.
I think it goes down to communication as well. They thought they just had that Dragon. Really, really a sad side for MNM there, going into the second part of the fight, where they initially had one out. They go back for the re-engage, but Roland with a beautiful taunt onto the backline and the front line, getting everyone here. And Camille, he was busy doing the Drake, so he wasn't ready for that engage, and that means Tide and Never Lucky can pick up more kills meanwhile, and then going back onto it. It is really hard to secure this because the layways together with a Smite, yes, there's a level advantage on Camille, but it's so easy to secure for Cartus with that combo.
I'm also a moron. I saw Babista's zombie and thought that was Blue.
Oh.
Blue was dead. Babista was dead. It was purely just Camille alive. So
I was also like, where was that cow? But I thought that he just reset. So yeah, I was just blaming it on miscommunication. But yeah, that's just a tough spot for MNM right there, not getting the Drake down, and kind of came out of that engage. They could have just went on to the Drake and waited for them to turn, but you know, it's one of those things we can sit here as casters in hindsight. We see the whole map and be like, yeah, you should have probably have done this, and I'm sure the players knows as well, but in the heat of the moment, in a stressful situation where you are playing a relegation game, these things does happen, unfortunately.
Yes. But these aren't the mistakes MNM can afford to happen again, because Ocean Soul will now 1 away for Bifrost, and that's always going to be lingering over MNM now. But if they can stack 4 Ocean Drakes for themselves and get Soul, then suddenly they are nigh unkillable, especially when you've got that Scion. And MNM, like I said earlier, they actually don't really struggle to kill these tankier members thanks to their double Kraken's Lair. Collector's obviously been finished up onto Vine as well now. And MNM, they're just looking to start up onto this tower in the mid lane. Satchel's going to pop. And that tower, almost dead. So it's going to fall down. And MNM, you know, not the Dragon they needed, but they are still making plays. They are still making things happen. This bot lane tier 1 tower still stands for Bifrost. So they're a little bit more locked gold for MNM if they can find the opportunity to do that. But speaking of gold, it's only a 1,500 gold lead to MNM now. So gold lead slowly evaporating and Bifrost pulling themselves back into this game.
Yeah, and right now the win conditions you're looking at for both teams, or not for both teams, but for one, MNM right now, what you want to do is set up the vision and keep control of the map. Absolutely make sure that this lead you have right now on the map, at the map state that's favoring you, that you can benefit that and transition that into a Drake again. Oh, okay.
Looking for that Lilting Lullaby onto Tanu. Doesn't look like they're going to pull the trigger. They're just going to chunk him out pretty hard. Good stun, Zonyas. They do find themselves a Lilting Lullaby onto Tide to put him to sleep. Camille's going to have to go lower. Now Camille uses the stopwatch. Babisa goes in for the pole, but that might just be enough to get the kill from the back of the Leandri's burn. No, Camille able to survive, but Tide gets a kill onto Blue. Divine all alone, and it's a double kill for Tide. MNM were not in position with their top laner for that fight. And they ultimately lose their AD carry and support, and that is going to be the Baron getting started up. They have to get a recall from Tide, from Camille.
Just go down fast. Double AD carry, Cartus, like, they're not going to be able to answer this. It's just going to go down.
Yep, it's dead. Already dead. Is now Brolan looking for Babista, though. It's going to zone him away.
And that just throws the game plan from MNM right out the window there. What they wanted to do right there was to use the lead they have to get control back on the map. Make sure they could get the last out of turrets and try to starve as much out of BIFROST as they could. Take their jungle camps, get deep vision, make sure that they're not in a position to contest for the third Drake or the fourth Drake, rather from BIFROST, which were going to be the soul. And for BIFROST, you were just waiting for that. You were waiting for MNM to come in and make a mistake. That was the game plan for BIFROST. They should set up defensive vision, where they have a vision pocket where they have to come in and face check you, where they will make a mistake, and that's what they did there. Now, BIFROST with the game back in their favor.
You do worry now because it's 20 seconds until this Ocean Drake comes up. But the fact they got that Baron, it's very easy for them to gain lane prio and shove the lanes out. MNM doing their best to place a couple of wards here and there to see if they can spot out any advances from BIFROST. BIFROST able to move through and just clear out some of this vision that's been placed down. Zhonya's is not available to Tanu though, so does have to be careful. If he gets chunked out low like that again, can't dodge away without his Zhonya's, and Camille does have his. So I think we're in for some action here.
Yeah, definitely. 2 items have been finished off for both the AD carry and the mid laner now, so they have hit their spikes. They're definitely in a position where they feel comfortable fighting. Summoner spells are up as well, but Kai'Sa, no flash, and that can be absolutely crucial if Roland is to flash engage on her as well.
Kez and Babisa going in for a real trade here, and Babisa going to go low, has to go in for the charge onto the backline, but that is just going to him going down. The taunt has already come down. Tanu flashes away. There's the big pole. Here's the big sleep. Divine's going onto the backline, and MNM just makes short work of BIFROST. A massive Requiem, though, going to chunk out a couple of these members as Camille goes in for the Nara. Blue, a massive interrupt as they do look for the kill onto the backline. Divine and Neverlucky going toe-to-toe, but the shield bow keeps Neverlucky alive and makes sure he wins that fight as Camille can land this swirl seed. Maybe he can find the kill, but he's unable to do so. Air gonna reset and teleport back in. MNM do finally find themselves a dragon.
And Blue out of nowhere with that 4-man pulverize. That was absolutely beautiful. We're actually seeing proactive stuff from the side of MNM. This is a side we haven't seen from them in ages, Jake.
Such a long time. Let's have a look at the fight again, though. Babisa getting caught out once again, though, at the beginning.
And that's the thing, like, Babisa, yeah, like, as soon as this happened, I thought it was over here, but the fact he actually gets to ultimate and force the flash out of town really splits up the fight. You can see Neverlucky in a position right now where he's not able to join the front to back. He's trying to culling down on Divine, but as soon as that pulverize has come through with the headbutt, well, it's just over. Divine has dashed into your backline and your front line is just absolutely gone. Neverlucky, though, doing a good job at trading it back, has that shield bow that Divine can't cut through. And while the HP bars are low from the side of MNM after the fight has happened, there's just nothing you can do as Neverlucky, and you have to fall back and give over that Drake.
But BIFROST are still, you know, one away from that Ocean Soul. So losing that fight and losing that dragon, ultimately not the end of the world for them, but the gold lead has now swung back in favor of MNM, but it's only a 400 gold lead. It's so up and down right now. You see the individual golds. I saw that Divine has finished up as Phantom Dancer, so now 3 items onto the Kai'Sa. I mean, it's the ease evolved, so you've got that extra invisibility to work with. Phantom Dancer finished up onto Air. Now he's working towards his Lord Dominic's to be able to cut through some of these tanky members, i.e. Kez. MNM, they're strong right now. This is a very, very strong MNM team.
Yeah, definitely.
Zhonya's has been finished up onto Tanu, though, so he, in that last fight, didn't have that. You can see the gold difference over time, though, because this game's been very back and forth.
Yeah, it really has, and that gold difference is really going to mean a much. Like, every single extra percentage you can get in your favor, you take that. There's 1 minute and 30 seconds until the side where we will get this Baron. And as MNM right now, this is what you need to do. You need to get the priority around the lanes you're working for. That's why they put their bot lane into the mid lane. They want to establish vision control so they can make sure that BIFROST not able to come in and get any intel whatsoever if they were ever to start this Baron. Because they shred that really quickly as well. They have double AD carry as well. They have that Lilia that's going to burn through with some true damage expansion off that Q. So definitely something you need to be careful as from BIFROST. You need to make sure that you can always come in and just establish just a bit of extra vision. And that's what you're seeing on Tanu right now. It's a battle They come in, get vision, they go back, clear waves, and meanwhile they're clearing waves, they're going in to clean that vision again. And that's that toggle of war we're seeing right now. Vision, wave, fight. Vision, wave, fight for it. And that's all we're going to see until that Baron is going to spawn.
There is a bunch of safety onto Bifrost, so if they do get hard engaged onto, you have that stopwatch on Tano, you have Tide who has his ulti. So there are these little things you do have to keep in mind if you are MNM and you want to jump in onto Bifrost. It might not be as easy to kill the members as you think. Also, shield bow onto Never Lucky just means kind of a pseudo tankiness there from that shield and the amount of sustain you get.
But realistically speaking, we shouldn't end up with a situation where it's MNM that's forced to directly just jump on them out of nowhere, because they have the priority around Baron. They can be the one to start it first. So in the end, it will be Bifrost at some point who's gonna have to face check it, or they're just gonna have to wait out the blue trinkets. It's gonna be like this mental and stalemate game we're gonna be having. You can see Vision is coming down now. Pink Ward has been dropped. Sky's Bloom has come out, so they get the intel that there's no Vision in there whatsoever. But if you don't want to go for the Baron, because you can see meanwhile, MNM has set up their vision around the Baron pit, Bifrost has laid their attention towards the Drake pit instead. So for MNM Gaming, all their pink walls right now, they're on the top side of the map. But for Bifrost, all their pink walls right now, they're on the bottom side of the map. So they're trying to go for different side of the map right here. And I think Bifrost would end out on the better situation if they could get that Ocean Soul.
Yeah, I think Baron for Soul is, especially when it's something like an Ocean Soul, not always the best trade unless MNM can really kind of slingshot open the game for themselves off the back of it. Take maybe an inhibitor and kind of take all of these outer towers off the back of the Baron, which is, it's quite a tall order. It's 4 towers they'd have to really take. Because remember, Dragon lasts forever. Soul lasts forever, Baron does not.
Took you a while.
Sometimes I struggle.
Yeah, I do more than you, so I really shouldn't be the one bashing on you here. But one of the crucial points for Bifrost right now is that despite them laying the vision towards the Drake, they did not have bot priority, but Bister's just gotten that. He's in the Drake, he's in the bot, in the river right now, just taking care of vision, taking care of the Scuttle. So MNM, out of nowhere, have secured all this vision, but Mechanar is coming out now. And they are posturing as if they want to contest this Drake. I think we're looking for another fight here. Brolin could look for the engage. They need to be careful for Blue's headbutt pulverize. We've seen how much he can do.
Oh, there's a big taunt. There's the headbutt pulver ready. They do bot back Divine. He's back into the fight though as Tanu has to stopwatch. The Swirl Seed's been thrown down and Tanu is going to get chunked. Tanu will lose his life, but in the passive, trying to do his best. The soul is secured. The Requiem rains down and Camille will lose his life. MNM getting wiped off the map. And Bifrost only leaving 2 standing.
And that was the dream scenario with that Requiem as well. Kaiser dying to Leander's Anguish Burnt afterward. I thought he's going to be able to live with the health rating. He just wasn't. And Bifrost making a bold call in that Drake pit, just saying, all right, we know our jungler is dead. But because Kartus was dead in his passive, he was stopping MNM for getting into the pit. And meanwhile, they couldn't get in there. They just got the Drake, but at the same time, Air doing a good job trying to get that inhibitor. Meanwhile, they're getting the Baron. They're really trading blows every time between each other.
Yeah, they will get this inhib. So MNM at least gains something off the back of that. That gives them a bit of pressure in this bot side of the map, and Air may be making his way towards the mid lane. But for now, let's have a look at the fight once again.
Yeah, and this time it was so much harder for them to get in there. It's actually Bifrost who initiated, and this time they're ready for the headbutt pulverize. This time they're doing a proper front to back. Never Lucky is there to help try and kill Babista. Blue is already out of the fight, and Tano, who's just like, you know what? I'm just gonna go out here and die. I'm just gonna let my let my passive be a zoning tool, and it's working absolutely beautiful for the side of Bifrost there. So, despite everything, you know what? Really good situation for Bifrost. Yes, they lost that inhibitor, but they win the fight. They take the soul and they get the Baron, and with that, the game back in their control. And finally, perhaps 30 minutes into the game, the outer mid lane turret.
I mean, that mid lane turret was 1 caster minion auto away from falling without Baron. Like, so low. But yeah, they do finally crack that open. There's 2 outer towers standing for Bifrost. MNM still have all 3 of their outer towers. So, question is to me is what can Bifrost gain with the back of this Baron? But Beast is starting to get pretty tanky, pretty hard to deal with. Although Camille's making his way over. Another Lucky spotted out by the Scryers and the Wall of Pain. Camille's made his way over, looking for that swirl seed onto Tide. Lilting Lullaby's going to get thrown out as he has to Gale Force away from this one. Blue comes in, gets the knockup. The Featherstorm's been used. The culling is down. The teleports are on. And now Babista slammed in. Tanu goes golden in the middle of everyone. And the Feathers get pulled back. Babista loses his life as they lose their jungler and their top laner on the side of MNM. And now it's just Blue, it's Divine, and Air to defend. Kez going to take a lot of damage from Air. But with that Ocean Soul, he doesn't really care. He's just going to shake that off. And 20 seconds until the jungle's back up. I actually think this is just going to be it for MNM. Game number 1. Very, very close. But the new kids on the block with the Baron and the Elder Soul, they're going to close this one out as the Requiem going to chunk out MNM. They're going to try and heal as much as possible. And this is going to have to be one hell of a defense. An open inhibitor. They're diving in. Divine looks to jump onto that backline, but he is just popped. Air exhausted. It's a double kill for Tide. The Nexus explodes at 32 minutes, and MNM going to drop game 1 to Bifrost.
And honestly, Jake, in last half fight, beautiful team play coming out from the side of Bifrost. You could really see how well they used the zoning tools they had in their kit there. Wall of Pain came out. The Galio taunt was really good. As soon as the sleep was down to Tide, I was like, all right, he's for sure dead now. Overstep. Really nice pick for Camille, but no. Gets the taunt down, gets absolutely obliterated by the calling in the backline. And when Babista comes in trying to kill Tano, well, stopwatch is ready. They're just playing so well around the agency they have in their compositions, and that's why they take that last fight as well.
That, for me, was a very frustrating game to watch for the side of an MNM fan, because there was so many things that they did right, things that they haven't done all season long, and it just wasn't quite enough. Bifrost played that game. I think it was the team fighting was what separated these two teams. Bifrost's team fighting was superb. Like you said, honestly, fantastic stuff from them. Now, guys, we're going to throw to a break, and when we're back, we'll be back with the analyst desk to chat about that. So see you after these ads.
Sunsets, high rise, you know you're on the floor, diamonds, good life, walking the golden door. Everybody knows that you wanted more, more. Ice cold to the touch, we're gonna burn it down, bodies so hot until we hit the ground. Everybody knows that you wanted more, more. It's not my fault. I don't wanna talk about it, not tonight. No, you probably think about it, but it's fine. Playing all the same, you know there's no amount, 'cause money makes the world go round. I don't see a problem till it makes me sick. Dollars by the minutes, I'ma spend it quick. No talking me down, yeah, I'm doing it now, 'cause money makes the world go round. Sun-kissed on my lips, the way I want it now. Don't trip, never slip. They wanna take me down. Talk is never cheap, so you say it loud, loud. Say it's not my fault. I don't wanna talk about it, not tonight. No, you probably think about it, but it's fine. Playing all the same, you know there's no amount, 'cause money makes the world go round. I don't see a problem till it makes me sick. Dollars by the minutes, I'ma spend it quick. No talking me down, yeah, I'm doing it now, 'cause money makes the world go round. Spend it till it's all out. This is all I feel now. Money makes the world go round. Spend it till it's all out. This is all I feel now. Money makes the world go round. I don't wanna talk about it, not tonight. No, you probably think about it, but it's fine. Playing all the same, you know there's no amount, 'cause money makes the world go round. I don't see a problem till it makes me sick.
Welcome back, everybody. Okay, that was a game. That was a game of League of Legends. There were 2 teams that were on the field. There were 5 players on either side, and someone won. It was a game of League of Legends.
That was the best way you could sum this one up, Excalibur. Honestly, I'm gonna be 100% honest. I have never been as excited as I was towards this early game from MNM to the place.
It was good.
They were where they should have been. They were pushing the lanes that they should be. They were freezing the lanes that they should be. They were taking the trades that they should be. They were diving at the correct time. They were pushing waves at the correct time. It looked so good until it didn't. Until they lost 2 fights in a row, literally. They lost complete control and vision, and they just kept losing consecutive fights over and over again. But that early game has looked more positive and more, I want to say, promising than anything we've seen from MNM this season.
Yeah, I would go as far as saying that was probably the most impressed I've been with MNM so far this split, as in actual everything in sort of conjunction with each other, right? Dealing with lane states properly so that they could respond to the dragon, because they knew they weren't going to contest the dragon. They held the freeze, they turned it into a slow push, they traded a full tower for like 2 plates. Unfortunately, Bobista died underneath the tower, but that's still a positive gold trade. You keep one of your win conditions in the game in Divine on the Kai'Sa for sort of a later state, where he was ahead of Tide for a majority of that game. And he had a much higher impact than Tide for a majority of it. And just in general, I think MNM's understanding of the weak side and the strong side of the map was genuinely far better than Bifrost's in the first sort of 20 to 25 minutes of this game. And I think they came into it with a very structured, strong plan. They wanted to give up the first 2 dragons and then look to fight for that third one with the gold lead that they accrued with that sort of Herald swap at the top side. So it was, all in all, I was just very impressed with their early game.
Yeah, but then when it came down to mechanical execution where it mattered, it looked like Bifrost had that number. Like, there was obviously from the Soul into the Baron, it was a complete flip of the game. And it just felt like Bifrost executed in the clinical, the key moments a little bit better than MNM were able to. And obviously then they just kind of ran away with it. I kind of want to think, like, I'm going to go have a look at the drawing board now, guys. And I think Jamada, you're doing this one, right? You're breaking down this particular play. So we're going to have a look at this play, and let me know what this is, what impact this had on the game.
I actually had 2 clips because I just looked at the production chat, because I asked for 2 and Navida's Smurfin did give me both, but I'm going to highlight this dragon here instead. So this is Soul Point for Bifrost still. And it was unfortunate, I think, and I'm just going to let the clip play while I talk a little bit too, for MNM, because they tried to flip the previous dragon. They won the fight at the previous dragon, but then unfortunately Camille missed the Q smite combo and didn't secure the previous dragon. So now Bifrost is in a position where they just need this one dragon for the fight, and you can kind of see MNM already, they're in a position where the Bifrost front line are kind of poising and threatening as if they're just going to move straight in on towards MNM, and it means that MNM collectively kind of have to respect this and move back. They fortunately got the Ocean Brush to kind of use it as temporary fog of war, but they can still be seen because they were attacking the dragon, and they don't quite respect the Mega Knot or the Taunt Flash that comes forward, and it just sets up for this nice kind of combination where it just stuns up the Vine here. Camille's kind of out of the fight, but Beast has to tank up everybody. Blue's trying to buy time, and all in all, it's just not the kind of fight that MNM need to be able to front to back. And from the Bifrost side of things, this is the perfect kind of fight for them to get, right? You can see Tanu understands he's going to die. He moves forward to effectively zone off the backline and throw out a couple of more lay wastes into that Requiem to finally take down the remaining members, and it just zones the remainder of MNM out of the fight to the point where they're just not really able to match up to it one-to-one.
I had no idea how I set you up for that, Jamada. I was literally just waffling for maybe 10 seconds, but I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you executed on that perfectly. Of course, you know, this is just the first game in the series. I said this about the Galaxy Racer, but what I think is, from what I'm seeing from our T-Layer Masters teams, we have 2 strong T-Layer Masters teams right now. You know, if both of them win their series, which of course Galaxy Racer already has, we could be looking at a guaranteed new team coming into the NLC into next season, which is crazy.
The thing is, we have 2 strong teams trying to come into the NLC and 2 weak teams in the NLC. The thing is that going into the NLC, you have to go with the perspective of, I have to fight the academy teams. Yes, Fnatic Rising fell into the lower bracket, but it will still be TXL and Fnatic in the finals. It is still these two teams going into EU Masters. And if you're planning on getting into the tournament, you need to be able to face these two academy teams if you're planning on doing well, if you're planning on going into EU Masters.
Yeah, of course. This is just the first step in the the many hurdles that these teams will have to overcome. As we've seen from just the NLC split gone, a lot of teams looked like they were conquering those hurdles. A lot of teams looked like they were gaining pace, but it just ended up that those mountains are still too difficult to climb for a lot of these guys. But of course, these guys are primarily focused on getting there first, and then XL and Fnatic can come later. Let's just get it through one series at a time. We're going to go to a break. When we're back, second game in the series. Second game of the series coming your way. BIFROST did not win it convincingly. It was very much a scrappy fiesta until some key moments where they were able to capitalize with mechanical prowess in team fights. So, and MNM, you both praised their early game. Like there are clearly areas that MNM can exploit to have a more commanding lead. How do they convert? Like how do they take what was so good about that first game for them anyway, and then convert it into an actual win without getting dragged down into the mud?
I really think it was just small things which kind of turned into bigger things, right? I can't remember the exact setup as to why Camille ended up soloing the dragon for Tanu to then walk in and be able to actually 50-50 it. But those are the small things which turned into bigger issues later on, right? So, for example, if Camille secured that dragon, then BIFROST still remained 2 dragons away, and they might not feel the pressure to have to fight for that dragon soul point, at which they effectively kind of lost the game from there. It was things like Air getting solo killed in the mid lane at level 3, Bobista giving up his life when he knows he's on the weak side. These are the kind of things where if they just don't, right, it makes things so much easier for them to convert, because their early game was genuinely clean. Like if I'm MNM's coach right now, I'm happy with that performance, genuinely. So I think it's just about sort of brushing up the edges, right? It's sort of sanding down the rough sides, and they have a good shot here at making this a 3-game series.
I think the problem with a lot of teams, and especially when you're coming in with a restructured roster, is like the early game is pretty textbook. Like your coach can tell you straight away what you need to do in the early game and you can just perform it. The late game is pretty clear because you have a composition that, again, you've worked on, your coach has given you the idea of like, we're going to be playing the late game team fight so and so and so. We're going to split, or we're going to play 1-3-1, or we're going to play Oust 5, or we're going to play an ARAM or whatever. The mid game is completely and solely up to the players, and usually when the roster has not gelled completely together, this is where a lot of things fall off. But I'm extremely happy to even see that MNM had a very convincing early game, and now they can work on to converting this into the mid game.
Rel is the first pick for BIFROST here on blue side, something that we saw quite frequently in the XL series, but also, you know, across the NLC in general, high priority on Rel. As Vene talked about it being his favorite champion from the previous series too, a lot of agency on that particular support. Now, the common answer is the Alistair, so MNM Gaming could very likely just lock that in for blue, which they will do, and we'll see. Lilia's still up, by the way, so Camille was good on the Lilia. I think he had a solid performance. So that is still up and available should he want it. Now, BIFROST may immediately respond with the Karthus once again, but a lot of junglers are left on the table at this point in time.
I think this is a potential sort of minor blunder, because MNM realistically could have left their support pick, but they're actually going to go for the full bot lane. Okay, so very interesting. I was going to go down there of maybe you want to take away the Lucian from BIFROST, from Never Lucky, because it seemed to be a genuine kind of issue, but maybe Edge doesn't play it or doesn't feel like playing it in this particular scenario. But locking in your full bot lane effectively also gives jungle priority over the BIFROST. But again, they're pretty comfortable throwing Tanu on this Karthus, so let's see what the... Oh, it's going to be Yone at the same time.
Yone as well.
We know what combinations like this can do. Yone with an AP jungler, you can really set up for a lot of massive AoE damage.
You can, but also you need to make sure that when you're picking the Yone, you're going to have mega priority in the mid lane, just so your Karthus has a little bit of freedom within his own jungle. Because there's so many aggressive junglers that are still open. Graves, Nidalee, Udyr, off the back of my head. Like, all 3 of them kind of like on Karthus. And the Lilia is going to get locked in here, and this is going to be possibly a problem, depending on what they're going to do to pin down the mid lane, because they need to make sure that the Yone is free to do whatever he wants.
Yeah, see, now this is kind of, I don't know how to feel about the draft now, because it's quite apparent BIFROST are likely going to ban out Lucian plus X, whatever that is. It's really up to them. Maybe another champion that can give us the Yone a tough time. But realistically, MNM need physical damage in their draft now from this point on. They need at least one more physical damage threat, because, you know, Kai'Sa's kind of like 70% AD, 30% AP. You've got Lilia there. There is a lot of magic damage in the profile right now. At the moment, BIFROST a little more content on removing away this Malphite. I think that's fine. MNM can obviously ban away the AD carries. Yes, Karthus can go bot. It's low chance, but it can definitely happen. But Tanu seems to be the Karthus player on this roster. So I'd expect another AD carry ban, perhaps something like the Jhin, or another sort of aggressive lane pairing that goes really well here with this role. Oh, they self-ban the Lucian. Oh.
BIFROST's composition right here kind of reminds me a little bit of the all-in composition that the BTXL drafted on Sunday, which was yesterday. My brain is scrambled completely. And they have the Yone to go all in. They've got the Rel to go all in. All they need is something possible like a Na in the top lane, and then another ADC to be on the back line. A Jinx would work perfect here, especially against the Kai'Sa. They've also removed the threat of a Malphite, so the Jinx will be untouched in the back line. And if the Kai'Sa chooses to jump in the back line to assassinate the Jinx, the Karthus will be there to finish the deal. And you also have a Rel, Yone, and whatever else you choose in the top lane, all of them diving in, piling onto the back line of MNM Gaming. Although I say that, they do have a lot of appeal for the side of MNM. Seeing this though,
Yeah, I agree. I agree with the silence. Ezreal's a pretty peculiar pickup here, in my opinion. I think there is a lot of dive threat in terms of sort of tools or potential for snap engage from
Ezreal
Eminem
going in
through
as
the
well,
past.
Jamada?
But maybe
Ezreal going in
Ezreal's
as
just
well.
maybe we just got aggro, we Ezreal spotting or what now.
Oh,
But,
okay, that's Ezreal going in. That's
okay.
everyone going in.
Yeah.
That's everyone
Bloody
playing
hell.
in your face.
Yeah, and this Silas pick is gonna be really fine into Gragas. So I'm really curious to see what M&M have like planned, because they self-ban the Lucian, they take away effectively what should have been probably their R4 pick to then blind pick the Gragas to give Bifrost the opportunity to counter pick top.
Yasuo.
So
Yasuo.
I guess it's just
Yasuo.
gonna be Yasuo. Good, cool trouble. We're gonna get the anime brother battle in the mid lane, and funnily enough, me and Goldberg are talking about anime OSTs in our DMs during the break, and that's exactly what we're getting right here. So I'm excited.
I'm concerned.
But I am also concerned. You voiced your concerns, trouble.
I'm just extremely concerned because I could see the Yasuo working perfectly. You've got the cask, you've got the multi-sleep into the cask, into the headbutt pulverize that can knock up multiple people. Yes, I see it. But Bifrost's team is a team that wants to completely run you down. Usually what you want to do with the Yasuo is try to reach the backline. Their backline is going to be playing in your face. So effectively, you're not going to have as much impact as if you completely
It's actually
isolated the
Silas
ADC in the
mid, by the
backline.
way. It's not the anime
so
brother battle. It's Silas mid.
One, I am wholeheartedly disappointed. Two, the lane assignments from Bifrost actually do make sense. Silas can win out against the Yasuo. It takes a couple of levels to get there, but you certainly can, especially after the first sort of 2 recalls or so. And Yone shouldn't get manhandled by Gragas, especially after the nerfs to his mana costs, but he might. So I think these are probably safer lane assignments for Bifrost, especially considering Yone actually loses to Yasuo in lane, much like the law, funnily enough.
I'm just thinking in my head, like, Silas steals Yasuo ult into Rel engage, into Yone engage.
Yeah,
That sounds pretty disgusting.
Into hip brain rage.
Into
Because
hip
it's doing it in chat.
brain rage, yeah. Okay. Anyway, guys, I think we're going to hand it over to our casters now. We have to get into this second game of the series. So let's jump in with Hit Brain and Gulborg.
I am consumed, Gulborg. I am consumed by disappointment at the fact we don't have a Yone versus Yasuo lane. I know it makes more sense to do it this way around, but god damn it, I'm annoyed.
You'll
I'm
probably
so
get to
disappointed
see
right
it
now.
anyway. We'll go out in a 1-3-1 composition. They'll go onto a side lane and they'll meet each other again, okay? It's just part of the law, okay? We're in the middle of the law right now. Yasuo's already defeated Yone, but now he's in the spirit realm. So he's coming back and they meet on the side lane, and that's what we're looking forward to. There you go. There's your anime battle. Do you feel better now? Are you at ease, or are you still just...
Yeah, you're giving it a little bit of background, but man, I wanted to... Man... I don't know. There's always going to be a side of me that's disappointed by this one. But we are loading into the game. We're getting ready to go for MNM versus Bifrost game number 2. If Bifrost win this, both of the newcomers have 2-0'd the NLC teams, and one of them is guaranteed to make it into the NLC. That is the big thing, is we could potentially see 2 NLC teams, current NLC teams, lose their spots. But if Bifrost win this, we are guaranteed to see at least one disappear.
And it would be a rematch of the Telia finals as well, Hitbrain. Bifrost and, of course, Galaxy Racer came from Telia Masters, from the Telia regions. Norway and Sweden, Denmark, UK, and Finland being left out in that race this time around, but nonetheless, huge talent coming out from Telia this split. And when we talked about it as well, Hitbrain, we did say that the competition was going to be way more fierce this time around. Last split, it was like, yeah, there was like huge difference between even bottom tier NLC teams and top Telia Master teams, but this time that gap has been absolutely closed and a new gap has formed, and potentially new gap is being formed with Bifrost if they were to beat 2-0 against MNM.
I love your story building, Gulborg, but I need to distract from that. Can we see air? Oh, okay. So Kez is using the Spirit Blossom skin or whatever it is. Air is not. So they've not even got any synergy against each other. Like,
but this fits doesn't this fit the
no,
animation?
Spirit Blossom is not the lore skin.
Oh, okay.
His lore skin is how it like. If he was using his base skin, that would more closely resemble the actual lore.
All right.
Because that's how he looks now. Spirit Blossom is probably close to how he looked before, if anything. Anyway, I am gonna stop crying and whinging on air about this whole scenario, finding more things to be disappointed in. We are onto the Rift, tied.
I'm getting serious throwbacks to you, Masters, with Penguin and you just talking about animes, plot holes and storylines every day, but you being disappointed over Yone and Yasuo here. That is really some next level. I don't know if it's called molding or what it is, Jake, but you're
molding is a good word for it, yes. I'm interested to see, because we kind of spoke a little bit about Never Lucky's matchup into air. I'm curious what the Yone Gragas matchup actually looks like.
I don't think we haven't seen it yet, but I think you have a lot of potential to outplay it with the Soul Unbound. You can dodge the body slam with and just go back, knock him up. You can also cancel body slam with the knock up yourself there. So I think there's a lot of rooms and utility to play around from the side of Keys here. He doesn't have to be too worried about a gank either. He should have that mobility to actually get away from a gank if it's properly timed and the vision is there. But obviously Gragas still a champion with loads of setups, so if Camille has opted in for the sweep, as he has, there is still obviously some way to kind of cheat the matchup a bit by getting help. But outside of that, I think it's perfectly fine for Yone. I think you're doing great into this matchup. And in the mid lane as well, Never Lucky on a champion like Silas. Fun fact for you, if you didn't know it, Never Lucky is one of the best Echo players on the server. That's why he's been target banned with the Echo every time. Haven't had a single game on Echo and Telia, and it's been must banned against him every time around. So if you can't get the melee AP champion that's Echo, well, maybe ending up on Silas isn't too bad either.
Yeah, and I think Silas is probably better for the team in this situation. Unlike the Echo, probably. I don't think Echo has an awful matchup here, but like I think realistically the Silas is going to offer more to the team right now. But Never Lucky now getting traded onto by Air, missing out on that knockup from the Steel Tempest.
Just coming in to get a bit of pressure here, but you can actually see, Jake, that is the second scuttle going over to the side of Camille now. Perfectly pathed down towards the bot side, cleared it really fast, got the scuttle there, and then just went through the mid lane where he got the priority to come up and take the second Rift scuttle now. So a bit of an XP lead over one of the junglers once again. Then Camille, he was one of those members that did a really good job on the side of MNM to actually get this pressure. Was continuously a level up on the side of Tanu until we came to that late game where Tanu finally came back with the rest of his team. But up until that point, he did a really good job at playing around his laners, and his laners playing around him.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Divine and Camille had a pretty good sit game, all things considered, in that last game. Divine definitely started to suffer a little bit more later on into the game, but up until kind of those late game team fights, Divine honestly had a really, really good game. And Camille as well, also a good game for him. So, you know, I think these two new additions to MNM definitely did some good stuff. I mean, like you said in the game, we were seeing them swap for objectives, trade for objectives, not just randomly fight or just sit back and do nothing like they were doing during the regular split.
It's very crazy from both junglers here. We're actually getting 2 full clears. So even after they full cleared, none of the junglers decided that they wanted to go back and shop. They've just said, all right, you know what? The camps have spawned, so I'm just going to continue. And first Drake, 5 minutes into the game, no jungler have reset yet either while this is being taken. But they can allow themselves this. They have the bot lane priority, they have the mid lane priority, and BIFROST, you can look at this go away, but there's no way you get this at all.
Tanu's going to attempt it. He's going to blast cut over. He's going to try and steal it. It's secured, and Tanu has to flash.
16 HP. Like, I respect that. Like, 16 HP, and he would have stolen that. They were not ready for him to just jump in there. Almost working out for him.
Why, like, in most scenarios, why would you expect that to happen?
Yeah, I agree. Even I was just like, there's no way you go for that. That would be absolutely suicide. But you know what? He's just like, well, I have Flash. I can go for this. I don't care if I have to use Flash. That's fine with me. And you know, had it worked out for him, we'd be praising him. So it's just one of those flip situations you go for, and you gotta respect him for it.
Getting in their head. If you steal that, you're already in their head.
That is very true. Like, if he stole that, mentality of MNM would be very bad. Just flashbacks to last game where they got 4 Drakes in a row from BIFROST. The Drake steal, where Tano just ran in and casually stole away the Drake on Cartus as well. Oh, would have been bad PTSD.
You really just wouldn't want that. Now, with that Dragon secured, this does mean that the Rift Herald, when it spawns up in about 2 minutes time, actually under that, 1 minute 15 seconds, 1 minute 15 seconds, they can look to try and try and get some contest over that. For the moment, the Crab's being secured by air. Kez, I'm just holding the wave here, not really interested in moving out as Camille's going to upgrade his smite.
Oh, he's got Lilting Lullaby.
Actually does go for the Lilting Lullaby, but the Wall of Pain's there. Never Lucky flashes over the wall. Kez looks to jump in, but they've got the movement speed to work with, and Kez, the Soul Unbound, just jumps backwards. That is a flash down from Never Lucky for just the Lilting Lullaby.
Yeah, I mean, he thought he could go in there and get the chains down, but you can definitely see BIFROST, they're not willing to slow down this tempo at all whatsoever. First the flash for the Drake, now the flash around the blue buff. You can tell that they want to get in there and fight. They want to get in there and start these skirmishes around these compositions you get. And here we go again in the mid lane. Actually, what? Was Lilting Lullaby blocked out by the wind wall?
Is that a projectile? What? Air, that was insane. I genuinely did not know that was a projectile.
I don't think he did either, to be fair. Jesus. Wow.
Wow.
You learn something every day, and I haven't seen that either, so... Wow. Well, what do you have to say about that, Jake?
Yasuo is a counter to Lilia. No, but there is the potential to cancel it. Jamada is going mad in our chat right now. Apparently Braum can block it, Samira can block it. The Braum block's crazy, because if you all stand behind it, does it?
He said can probably, so he's not sure.
Oh.
So before you sell the idea to people, he's only theorizing.
And if I'm wrong, it's Jamada's fault.
But
Samira can block it.
You know,
Like,
I'm down for that.
Yeah. Maybe you should know these things, Jamada.
Yeah, Jesus, what are you? Are you not an analyst, ex-coach or something like that? Jesus. It's crazy.
Coached MNM, and now look at where they are.
I mean, they're doing better without him.
No, actually. No. Their UKLC team had a pretty rough split as well.
Yeah, but I mean...
And they
he
did
was
pretty
only
well
in
when he was the coach.
Yeah, but he was only in the UKLC. NLC is a better league, so no matter your placement, you're always doing better in the NLC, right?
Yeah, I mean, I forget that you coached in NLC as well, mate.
I coached Nordic.
That's not NLC though, is it?
I know. That's why, I'm a caster now.
Lilting Lullaby gets interrupted. He's asleep and he's burning. Tanu looking to see if he can get a bit of a turnaround here, but Camille able to sustain through this one. And MNM just get himself a nice couple of kills. Roland looking to see if he can find Camille. Camille has not got the smite, so just trying to sustain up off the Gromp. We'll be able to get a bunch of health from that.
It's just kind of crazy how everything that has happened from MNM has been revolved around Camel. He's been doing a really good job at starting these skirmishes. They played around the CC you get to the Gragas, and just coming in there with the faster clear from Camel has really worked out for them. You can already see now Camel again, level 8. Oh, Never Lucky accidentally abducted onto the Raptors.
Yeah, he's going to pop the ulti as Brolan looks to slide in with that knockout. The Requiem is coming down and Air is dead. Never Lucky will be next up on the menu though. He can't make his way over the wall. No flash available to him. Brolan is just so slow right now. Dismounted, belly bopped up. And slowly Camille is able to take himself the kill. Kez with the Soul Unbound zips back to safety. But Tanu now getting Chilling Smited. Has to flash away. But Bista fumbles the belly bop. And maybe now Rift Herald's going to fall.
Yeah, Jesus, this is just so scattered, these fights. It's just skirmish upon skirmish for no specific reason at all. It's just for the spirit of fighting, really. And yes, you could say it was for the control of the Rift Herald, but I promise you that the comms right there was not, all right, let's get this fight, let's go for the Rift Herald afterwards. It was just like, all right, he's out of position, let's see if we can get the fight. They've been overextended for so long. And yeah, some misplays coming out from BIFROST that MNM is punishing beautifully, and that does net them their second objective. They should be able to grab this Rift Herald and with that grab the pressure after the reset has come through, and then get a Drake up in the top side. But Bista is still fighting Keys.
Yeah, Keys is actually not coming out pretty good from this. There's a red buff on that, Gragas, so that Slurp and Perp is going to really hurt. That's not the name of the ability, but I can't remember it, so I'm going with Slurp and Perp.
Yeah, you know, could have been worse, but oh my god, I don't even know if Tano can be here. There's no bot lane.
He
Why is
has
he right
no
here?
flash, remember? But he does have Brolan, so Divine's not willing to jump into him, but Ocean Drake, sorry, is really hard to deal with if you're getting jumped onto because of the slow. Gonna pick up this crab for his team, just making sure it pushes away from Tanu. Actually, what an absolute nice guy. Making sure that his jungler gets the crab. It's Tanu ignited. Divine slides in for the kill. The attract and repel is going to stun Divine down, and now Neverlucky is going to look for a little bit more here. The Lilting Lullaby going to get thrown down, and that is air. And the rest of the team just cutting through the health bars. Is Neverlucky able to jump away? Last breath was used already, and Kez trying to get close enough for a Fate Sealed, but not going to be able to get into range. And they're just fighting over these objectives, and these objectives are refusing to die because they're just not even getting a chance to do them.
Yeah, but I feel like they're just taking their own grave. BIFROST, they're not going for any cross map. You're not in a position where you're going to be able to actually contest that Drake. Like, you're just not ahead. Do what MNM did last game. Try to go for some cross maps, contest the third Drake. There's no need for you to just throw your bodies at this Drake for the sake of giving them extra gold, because now they get the gold and experience from the kills, and they still get the Drake. Like, you're just putting yourself in a worse situation, and it's easy for MNM. They have the tempo, and you can clearly tell BIFROST does not like being off tempo, and they're being punished for it.
Yeah, I think the difference between the two teams is MNM are better at playing from behind than BIFROST. BIFROST very good at keeping their tempo and playing to that, but if they're not playing their game, it's bad. And we are in the midst of a replay as I say this, but it was just honestly, like you said, BIFROST just didn't need to be here. They just didn't need to contest this, and Neverlucky gets away because of his flash. But at the end of the day, it's MNM who have 6 kills now. It's MNM who have 2 dragons and a Rift Herald. But the plate's falling off soon. I expect to see this Rift Herald get popped down fairly soon. We'll see where Camille decides to use it. No tower really in execution range at the moment.
But at the same time, the reason why BIFROST came back in the game 1, it was because of their team fighting. It was because they had the Drake stacking, but they do not have the Drake stacking this time, and they just most certainly not have the tempo. Rift Herald is coming out in the mid lane just to get some extra plates for it. Plates are falling off in 3 seconds. Can they get it? Yes, they can.
Yes, they can.
And with this, I mean, you're perfectly fine with a 1-3-1 scenario right here. You have the Yasuo, you have the Bist on the Gragas on the side lane. This is exactly what you want. So just have the AD carries in the position here, and then keep playing around Camel. He's going to be the guy that's continuously out on the map and who's ahead of the cards. I don't actually even think that Camel has backed yet. Can we see the gold? How much gold does he have in his pocket right now? He has 2,700. He haven't shopped yet. And he's been doing so much damage in these fights. When he gets back on the map, he's going to be gaining even more tempo for his team. Now, Sonya's Hourglass come through, so that makes it even easier for him to create these skirmishes. We all know the combo, the Q, the ultimate, and the Sonya's, and it's just so easy for you to set up your team.
Kez, I think you're in trouble, mate. Goes for the Fate Sealed, but Vista just dodging away on it. He doesn't care. Trades ult for ult.
And it looks a bit worrying because you can see they're just trying desperation plays. Now, Kez?
Kez, you're in trouble, mate. Oh, no! He goes to sleep. It's snoo time, and Camille's able to find himself the kill. Here comes the rest of MNM as well. Easy pickings as they get themselves a second kill. Brolan delivered back into the waiting arms of Divine and Camille. Camille just flashes forward. Big Mandic Storm, but realistically not going to be enough. Tide not able to find these Qs onto the members he needs, and now he has to be quite careful as Camille very strong on this Lillian. Is just going to be chasing him down. Tide does a lot of damage as well as the Void Seeker goes a little bit wide, able to E over the wall as Swellseek dodged away, and now Never Lucky May does look for that chain lash, does connect it, but bopped away. And Camille probably didn't need to eat watch out forwards as Requiem's going to come down. Tide's pretty low already. Camille should be able to survive this as pretty weak Karthus. They do get himself a quick stake on the way out, but ultimately MNM are the ones who are still trading up.
Yeah, but at the same time, that was a 4v5 the whole time. This Yasuo was just in the bot lane, clearing out minions, getting that turret all by himself, getting so much XP advantage as well. And the items coming through for him. Oh, he's actually going for the build where you're actually not getting the mythic item first. You get that Noon Cover, you get the seal, and then you go for the crit, just to get 100% crit before. And then afterwards, you decide to go for the shield bow or the next one. But here we just see the skirmish once again. Kiss getting a bit greedy for the sustain, and essentially he's up in a turret where he's no business being. There's no mid lane priority. MNM spot lane is coming in. Jungle is already there. That's what we talked about.
Oh.
Huge difference between Camel.
Oh! Kiss played that fight so badly, took so many towers, but actually Sustained is coming in. But Bister's gonna die to the minions. No, the slurp keeps him alive. Air comes in for the last breath onto Never Lucky. And here comes Camille. Gets himself the lilting lullaby, but it won't connect in time. And Air and his jungle able to find a turnaround kill, but Beasts are very low, no teleport available. Has to be quite careful because Roland is sniffing about topside, so may just move away.
And the replay into a replay. Let's see how it actually pans out here, because we didn't see this. We were in a replay at the same time. Kess actually getting rooted up on the tower and looking like he's going to lose this situation, but he just have that shield bow and all that spell van coming in, or the lifesteal coming in for Bister. Just narrowly surviving with whatever you call that ability, Jake.
The old slurp and burp is what I call it.
The old slurp and burp just kept him alive, and at the same time, Never Lucky losing down here and that. When we get out of the replay, Drake should probably already been taken. No, it's not been spawned yet. 10 seconds until it is going to be up on the map, and you can just see at the vision control around the Baron pit or the Drake pit right now. All the pink walls are in favor of MNM, and there's nothing stopping them from getting to Soul Point and Jake. They're absolutely just running away with the game right now. They have the side lanes under control. BIFROST is struggling to punish. They don't even own their own jungle, as you can see right now. Brolin having to get out of it as soon as he spots the cow. And it's starting to look very dire for Bifrost. What we need to see from them is a way they can slow down the game. They need to create some vision pockets where they can get a pick, get these shutdowns that you see. Camel, 400 shutdown. Divine, 150. If you can get these shutdowns onto your carry, you can try and get the game back in your favor. You need something to play for, and right now, you just don't have it. Despite it being only 3k, these Drakes have so much invisible gold that we're not paying attention to, and it creates a huge stress factor that you need to be able to stop.
That's exactly what MNM had in the last game. Was too many dragons went down, so they were forced to fight and contest the dragons. And Infernal Soul on this team is going to be really painful. You get hit by one of those swirl seeds, the burn, the occasional proc, the long-range Void Seekers as well, applying that damage. There's a lot of extra damage that is just capable for them to use here. So MNM very happy we're picking this one up. Now, Tane does have a Rift Herald, so he's going to summon it in the mid lane, but Beast are coming in onto the flank, and MNM looking to set up a point to defend here, as Kez has used the Soul Unbound, is looking for that Fate Seal, but not going to be able to find it. A massive knock-up into Last Breath. Air slides into the backline. Magni Storm lands on the multiple members. Never Lucky puts down the BIFROST, but here is MNM as they just cut down members left, right, and center. BIFROST are bleeding out as now they are trying to turn it back around. Kez unable to do so. A double kill off on the sides, and MNM kill 4 members of BIFROST.
Oh my god, and it's just perfect setup from MNM, but Bister being a sneaky little ninja, getting his fat body down to that pixel bush into the mid lane, and then Blue with the Hex Flash coming in with a triple headbutt pulverized combo that's just setting up Air on the Yasuo. And where has this MNM been in the whole NLC split? Yes, they had some changes, but Blue, I haven't seen him play this well ever in the NLC.
Yeah, no, honestly, completely agree. Look at that engage. Beautiful.
And then afterwards, it's just easy to pick them up. The fight is so scattered. Camel even surviving this with the Sonya's Hourglass coming down to clutch timing. Requiem just being 1 millisecond too early, really. And Divine getting a double kill on the bot side of the map. It is just absolute disaster for Bifrost. And if you are MNM, if you are a fan of them, you're loving this. Oh no. Oh no, Keith.
Oh, you are dead. He tries to get the knock-up, but Air comes in. One last breath onto his brother. The anime battle we have waited for. This time there was a deer about, but Air does get the shutdown. And look at that. Baron Nashor as well. And they're going to do this very quickly. You got that double AD. Kraken Slayer Kaiser. With those Void stacks, you can just cut through it real quick. Now, Blue getting chased onto. They don't have that last breath, but Beaster finds Tide, and Tide goes, actually, you are quite a chunky man. Baron Nashor picked up by MNM.
It's just classic AD into tank right here. But Bista, 2 levels above the AD carry, and Tide, there's nothing he can do, only sitting on the Essence Reaver. Don't even know what he's building towards here. Problem with if he's going for the Duskblade build with Ezreal here, he's gonna have such a hard time cutting through Babista. Babista actually no, he's not, because Babista haven't even opted in for any armor here, so it's still gonna do some damage, but it's just like they're so ahead for MNM. It's basically just what I'm trying to say. Like the items ahead, Drake's ahead, Baron buff now available, and there's not many minutes before the soul is gonna be available for them. It's such a tall and hard task for Bifrost to get back into this game.
It's going to be so hard. Taking a look at the items, the shield bow now finished up for Air. Going towards what I assume is going to be his Infinity Edge next. And he finds Kez, and Kez has to dash away. Never Lucky stealing away Blue's ultimate once again. It's typically in the ultimate he is favored the most, gives him a bit more survivability, a bit more tankability. Meanwhile, Baron is being utilized in the top side, and another tower's going to fall. Divine has got the mid lane push with the Baron here.
And that's just the case throughout the whole series, Hitbrain. MNM has just been better at controlling the map. Team fights, that's where Bifrost had their strength, but you can't be team fighting when you're 6k gold down. Like, yes, you're getting control at the Drake pit, but Drake is not spawning yet. You're still waiting 30 seconds, and you're losing towers at the expense of it. Now you have to go back and defend it, and you just lost all the control you wanted to get. Now, they are looking for a fight, though, here, it seems, but even if they go for a fight here, TP they are going to come through from Babista. And they can just run up a mid now. TP is coming through now, Jake. Right.
There's the Lilting Lullaby into the stopwatch. Kez has made his way over. Divine slides into the backline. The cask is thrown down into the last breath. That's the kill onto the jungler. But MNM still not winning this fight completely convincingly. Slowly but surely taking members out. Camel goes in for the stopwatch to survive as Kez able to find the kill. Swirlseed will slow him down into the cask, into the knockup, into the shield bow. And now Air free firing away. Can he keep himself alive? Yes, he can. Kez goes down. MNM find the ace.
I mean, it was some close team fighting coming out from inside of Bifrost. One more misstep and they would have actually gotten a member and almost individually, mechanically making that fight work for them, but they're just too far ahead at MNM. They have the Baron buff, they get the Drakes now, and Infernal Soul being picked up by them now is going to make this an almost impossible task for Bifrost. They are going to get out on the map with the resets. They are going to go back and spend their gold, and they are going to start opting in for that 1-3-1 composition that this team is designed to do. And even with this fight started, yes, good Sonya Sargos coming out from Camel, but the fight is just so scattered once again. Even though it's a nice stun coming out from the side of Rail here, they're not going to be able to follow. Tide is absolutely useless in these fights, can't do anything about the front line right now. And after that, I mean, it's almost before Never Lucky and Hayes actually make this work, but they're just too far behind. The CC layer is actually not going to matter. Shieldbow comes out, and after this, well, it's just going to be a cleanup.
Well, now with the soul in the pocket, only one outer turret standing for Bifrost. MNM not willing to go down this easy in the relegation tournament. They have survived relegation once. A win here and a win tomorrow. And they do it again. They pull the miracle off 2 times in a row. Camel taking away some chickens as well. Never Lucky once again steals away the unbreakable will.
Yeah, they are looking to start a skirmish once again. If it did not work before, we'll just try again, and that's what they're doing.
Lilting Lullaby onto that backline. Camel going to slam in. Tide's going to lose his life. Tanu as well. Kez goes on for the ulti, but only catches onto Air. Air's pretty tanky right now, trying to find that knockup. Can he find it? Yes, he can! And meanwhile, the rest of the team are just getting wiped by MNM. 4 for 1. 5 for 1. Sorry.
And that
I
is
can
the ace.
count.
Yes, you can. I know you can. That's the ace, and that should be the game now from MNM, evening out the score. And Jake, do you want to say it? Do we have a series on our...
Baby,
Yes.
we have a series on our hands. Over a kill
my
per
God.
minute in game number 2. MNM are going to take this game, putting it 1 apiece. BIFROST can do nothing. They're going to try and stop it, but with the wind walls, with the damage, Divine is going to make sure this Nexus explodes. We're going to game number 3, baby.
Relegation series finally becoming a bit more close now. MNM finally deciding to wake up. Last game, they had the unfortunate situation that they had to play it from behind throughout the whole game, and they did do a good job at trying to get back. But this game, when they're ahead from the start, it just felt like everything was coming together for them. The objective stacking was perfect, got every neutral objective. They're in control of every skirmish, being the first proactive team on the ball to actually get the play rolling. And you could look at Bifrost, they look extremely uncomfortable when they're not ahead, when they are not the team who's being proactive.
Well, series on our hands. It's time to pay the bills. We're going to throw it to the advert. See you in a moment.
Sunsets, high rise, you know you're on the floor, diamonds, good life, walking the golden door. Everybody knows that you wanted more, more. Ice cold to the touch, we're gonna burn it down, bodies so hot until we hit the ground. Everybody knows that you wanted more, more. Say it's not my fault. I don't wanna talk about it, not tonight. No, you probably think about it, but it's fine. Playing all the same, you know there's no amount, 'cause money makes the world go round. I don't see a problem till it makes me sick. Dollars by the minutes, I'ma spend it quick. Knows I keep me down, yeah, I'm doing it now, 'cause money makes the world go round. Sun-kissed on my lips, the way I want it now. Don't trip, never slip. They wanna take me down. Talk is never cheap, so you say it loud, loud. Say it's not my fault. I don't wanna talk about it, not tonight. No, you probably think about it, but it's fine. Playing all the same, you know there's no amount, 'cause money makes the world go round. I don't see a problem till it makes me sick. Dollars by the minutes, I'ma spend it quick. Knows I keep me down, yeah, I'm doing it now, 'cause money makes the world go round. Spend it till it's all out. This is our
Well, MNM actually woke up and they converted that early game. It honestly really did not look pretty for Bifrost. They were making a lot of individual errors across the board, and MNM actually, especially off the back of Camille. I mean, I've been super impressed with Camille on this Lilia, but especially off the back of Camille, really popped off this game.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of said coming into the series, it might be kind of hard to gauge, right? Just because of how the jungle kind of works in this particular meta. But honestly, as an individual, he's just been performing better than Tanu has. And in general, he's just been setting up MNM for multiple successful plays. And I think, unlike last game where we saw these small hiccup things which made the plays that MNM are doing not succeed as much as they could have been, in this game, we didn't really get to see that anymore. MNM's plays were being executed properly. There weren't any or too many big sort of individual misplays which led to bigger issues down the road, and they kind of just converted fight after fight at all of these neutral objectives.
Do I have to be the main person here? I'm gonna be the main person here. I
Sure.
just felt like Bifrost completely ran it down.
I agree. I
They were being caught on side lanes where they shouldn't be. They were literally running into fights where they didn't have the numbers advantage, and they knew they didn't have the numbers advantage. They were putting their Karthus into fights where the Karthus didn't have ulti to follow that up. He was moving far forward where he knew he would die, but then again he didn't have ultimate to follow that up. He wasn't properly positioning to try and cut the fight into half. It's like I felt like it was a complete mess from Bifrost. And MNM had to do literally the same thing as it did last game, but then Bifrost never got their stuff together in this one to try and take it back. Because again, even 10k behind, they still had the composition that was needed to beat that specific composition from MNM. And it showed in every single fight, ever since they fell behind 5k gold plus, it was really close for every fight to be won by them.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I think also MNM just like this time round, the problems that they had in the mid to late game was mechanical execution on team fights. This time round, much better, much cleaner. They played the important fights the important way. We have got a clip that you wanted to break down here, so let's jump into this and take a look.
All right, so this clip here, I'm going to showcase why I'm saying that Bifrost are kind of running it down. In this specific clip, they're running it down mid, your good old solo queue tradition. So as you can see, they're trying to set up mid because this guy over here has, oh my goodness, who did this monstrosity? Hold on, I need to change that. There we go, thank you very much. All right, so this guy right here has the Herald. There is no dragon coming up, so there's no point actually trying to open the mid lane at this point because you've got one and even two side lanes pushing. So you can choose to do whatever you want on the map. You don't necessarily have to go there because you don't have vision behind this wall. You don't know what's happening around here, which is a Gragas flanking you, and your Sylas does not have teleport, which means he has to walk slowly towards that mid in case a fight breaks out. Guess what? A fight does break out. So they're gonna pop the Rift Herald in the mid lane. You see a beautiful Hex Flash from the Alistar right here to engage this whole situation, and everyone is bundled up. Tide gets caught up instantly, and the only one who can escape is Keys at this point with Yone. The ADC is over here, Karthus is over here, everyone's over here. And guess what? Salas is just la 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 la, he's in the back and he's like, guys, team, I'm almost there. It doesn't really matter. Lobista gets a beautiful cast, he gets his Yasuo in, and even though the Rel gets a beautiful 3-man ult, this is where I'm actually going to slow down because the Everfrost would have killed Camille right here, but that is a beautiful Hourglass that is also going to take the last tick of the Karthus ultimate. Camille absolutely smurfed this fight, and MNM ended up clutching this completely. And even though they were ahead at this point, you can still see that so many bars are so low. Like literally Camille got away by the skin of his teeth. Had these not been like played like this, had these been played with more vision, with more control, with more push side lanes, it would have been a completely different story. Had this been played with their mid laner actually there, it could have been a completely different story.
Yeah, I think Bifrost definitely made some very odd errors, and they were the same errors that were kind of replicated from the first game. I don't think Bifrost had a clean early game in the first game either, but they were just able to bring it together with a team comp that made sense in the late game. And like we said, they do have the mechanical prowess to execute on those team fights properly. But this time round, MNM did not let go. They did not give Bifrost anything in the early game, and were much better at capitalizing. Again, the draft to me just felt really weird too. Like you took Karthus when you could have denied Lilia from Camille. Like Karthus was a super high priority for them too, which made very little sense to me. I guess it's probably a personal preference for Tanu, but you can see that it was struggling, I think, versus Camille on what was another great Lilia game from him.
Again, real quickly before we have to go into the break, I do not mind the composition. I think it is way superior over MNM's composition. They win every single lane. They have the push. They have the roam potential because they have the Ezreal down bot lane. I didn't see many roams from Rel, and even when I saw roams, they had like numbers disadvantage. How can you have numbers disadvantage when your support is actually roaming and the opponent's support is not even there? I don't understand. So I think it was a complete decision making that lost this game by BIFROST.
Yeah, and again, we have one more game in this series, though. The winner obviously goes through to face Galaxy Racer for a spot in the NLC directly. The loser is not out of the tournament. We still have more series to play. They'll just go down to the lower bracket, where it will then be an elimination match. So this game is important. It gives you an extra lifeline when it comes to qualifying for the NLC by winning it. So we're going to go to a quick break. We'll have our last game of the night coming your way.
What's that strange face staring at me in the mirror, in the mirror? What's this strange change of season coming over, coming over? It goes on and on and on, and it never seems to stop. It goes on and on and on. What do I need? What do I need? I need to make it happen. To
We're into the final draft of the night. Winner goes through to face Galaxy Racer. Loser will meet Dusty in the elimination match later on in the week. Echo banned straight away. Pretty much 100% ban rate, I think, versus Bifrost over the last couple of weeks. Rel will be responded. Nothing out of the ordinary right now for both these teams. Just Nocturne, again, Nocturne is like coming into these bans pretty hot and heavy over the last few weeks of the NLC, and no surprises as well in our relegation tournament.
Yeah, and I think the reason for that is because of the combination they ran during the Telia Masters with the Tarek there. It just seemed something that's really obnoxious to have to play around now. The big question for me is, will Bifrost remove away the Lilia, or if they don't, what are they going to leave up? If they feel like MNM might first pick it, what they want to try and trade in return. I think this is kind of the big question, because now it's 2 games in a row where Camille has had a really high impact, game-changing impact on this champion, and I'm not sure if it's necessarily worth it giving over that first pick. You might want to let MNM pick something else instead. This Alistar ban strikes me as kind of strange. It does leave Thresh up. Thresh is now also something that is a champion who remains in the pool.
It's very clever because now Tristana is up, Lilia is up, and they're going to have to make a move
make
here.
The trade. Yeah.
So now they can make the trade onto taking both Thresh and Lilia, which is two very strong picks. So this is something that I've been talking about a lot, where you kind of like ban a semi-strong champion or something that wouldn't fit against your composition, and then you leave up 3 to 4 S-tier picks, and then you force the blue team to trade 2 while they only take 1, and then you can compose through that. So they're gonna obviously take the Thresh away here, which is a really good pick, and I want to see them grab the Camille as well. The Camille? Camille's
the Lilia.
Lilia.
It's almost synonymous at this point. I totally understand, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's a curious
I think MNM
thing.
played it well though, right? They took Tristana and said, well, okay, you didn't pick Lilia when you had the opportunity before, and they're not going to pick it again either. MNM just basically said, well, we'll take Tristana. You didn't pick Lilia when you had the chance before. We're going to call your bluff. Are you going to pick Lilia again?
It seems like the answer's no. So maybe they've just done their research. I mean, I'm pretty sure I saw at least a few Lilia games in Tanu's match history, in his records, in his stage games. So it is really strange. There's no reason for MNM not to take it, right? And they're going to do that. And I mean, realistically, they can just take the support matchup of their choice. There's still the Nautilus if they really want it. Leona can be okay into Thresh sort of in isolation, just so you can engage just with the Solar Flare itself. Gragas, being hovered, obviously can still flex. So there's loads of options here for MNM, and that's what they're going to go for.
And they're rocking the double flex as well. The double flex on the Tristana, bot mid. They're rocking the double flex on the Gragas, top bot. So I really like this. And at the end of the day, for MNM, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The Lilia worked all 2 games. Yes, I didn't win game number 1, but Camille had a fantabulous performance there as well. So that's all right. I'd like to see a change from that Karthus. Please don't look in Karthus again. Just go with something like an Udyr, go Graves, go Nidalee, go into something more proactive. Thank you.
Udyr.
Thank you.
I like Udyr a lot more. It can keep pace with the Lilia much better than the Karthus cannon. I think the Karthus, it wasn't a particularly pretty game 1, although it did work out. Definitely wasn't particularly pretty game 2 and didn't work out. So I like that they're making a little bit of an adjustment here in the final draft of our series.
Yeah, I think that whilst the Karthus pick might not necessarily be the cause of the issue, is causing an issue because Bifrost haven't really been playing around it via any lane priority that they can have. So whilst I think it's kind of left Tanu in a bit of an awkward position where, hell, he might have wanted to actually play Karthus in this setup right now, but he's not. His team may not actually feel comfortable running it a 3rd game in a row, especially after Camille's kind of just manhandled him throughout the series. So I think this Caitlyn ban makes a whole bunch of sense. They might not necessarily be sold that this Tristana's going to go bot, especially not into Thresh and Xayah. So I think Tristana's kind of soft locked into going into the mid lane or potentially top, but we don't see it often. Renekton banned away, so I guess Bifrost may be looking at something like a Gnar. Okay, well, there you go, MNM. Read that they're looking for the Gnar, so they're going to ban it away. So then you start looking at things like maybe Camille, maybe Gangplank, or just kind of another tank to sort of fill that topside role for keys.
See, this is the kind of game where I would like to see MNM completely 5-head Bifrost, put Tristana down the bot lane and have a Yone in the mid lane, and then you have 2 lanes of pressure for your Lilia to play through. That would have been extremely good for them, but Bifrost beat him to it and snaps the way they Yone. You know what? I respect that. I respect that because that would have been a big 5-head move from MNM.
Yeah. I love this takeaway. I think it leaves MNM in a bit of an awkward position now because, I mean, there's not a a long list of good supports, ADs to run inside. They're gonna go with the Senna, which kind of alludes to me that they're gonna send Gragas top lane, and they're actually gonna go Senna Tahm Kench, which I think is pretty interesting in this setup. It's gonna nullify a lot of the pressure or the kill threat that Bifrost bottom side does have, but you're likely gonna yield lane priority. So I think depending on where Bifrost chuck this Yone, whether it's going to end up in the middle or the top side, is going to really dictate how MNM are allowed to play the game. And for Bifrost, I think they've set themselves up really well. They should have bottom side priority.
Yes,
They should have solo lane priority.
I like the Cassie.
And I'm a big fan of the Cassiopeia too. Go ahead, Trouble.
Yeah, I was just about to say I would love to see the Yone go up top lane, because top lane is not a lane that Camille will be able to play through with the Lilia. Gragas usually, like, depending on what he goes to, normally goes towards tank, so you don't necessarily have to camp there. But Tristana mid lane would be a lane that you would want to camp, you would want to get ahead, you would play with, because she pushes and then she roams with you. She can't push though, because Cassiopeia is a hard counter to Tristana. Once you put the miasma down, you can put down the pain on her, and that Tristana is very lucky that 11.6 is not on right now, because Ludens received some really big buffs for dot champions, but still Cassiopeia is extremely strong, keeping that Tristana in place, not allowing her to move. It's very dominant in lane, and I really like it. Bifrost shutting down the only one lane that would be dominant from MNM.
I also agree in the sense that also if you put Yone mid, your damage profile was looking a little one-dimensional, which if you're going to play fasting Senna into Tahm Kench, you can build up a lot of armor very early on. Like you were potentially looking at a relatively one-dimensional damage profile if you didn't put Yone top and take an AP mid laner. So it also does solve two problems with one. Trouble, as you mentioned, it solves a couple of problems there. So I love that. Let's see how this game plays out though. Final game of the night, Hitbrain Gulblog, take it away.
Alrighty, getting ready to go into our fifth and final game of the day and our third of this series. MNM bouncing back hard after a pretty rough game one. They're able to come back, and I think the key thing for them is how well they have played objectives. If they can keep that up, like they did in game two at least, and kind of throw Bifrost off tempo, it looks like they just look very confused on what to do on the map. But I think that Cassiopeia pick on its own really shut down a lot of what MNM want to do as well.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think like you can have these picks and come in and do whatever they want to do. I definitely agree that this composition coming in from Bifrost is going to be better at dealing with MNM this time around. But if you're not able to shut down Camel as a player, you're still going to be struggling. It has been through him that they've been able to get these objectives. So once again, I think we need to take a look at the junglers. I think we need to look at how the priority is coming around for them. But I think with the Tahm Kench and Senna being locked in, that kind of leaves over the pressure for the bot side, so they should have the first move. I think there's no way that Tanu should get double scuttled this time around in the early game. It can absolutely not happen. Do not allow Camel to run away with the game.
But like the desk was saying, you know, the Udit does deal with the Lilia much better than the Karthus does. And MNM know that, so they're going to go and invade Tanu and see what he's up to.
Just drop a ward onto his red buff, keep track of him in the early game, and if you want to go down and set a ward up around the Senna, well, she gets one soul for free, or at least you have to come in there with a few members and the Thresh just to threat that death sentence as well. But no sweeper has been backed for the side of Tanu either, so they are just leaving this ward open. And
Kez has one. He's just
there we
reset.
go. That's absolutely perfect. This is really big brain, actually. So he sacrifices the sweeper in the beginning, but he will get the solo XP. And when you take a ward for the solo laners, they will get level 2 on the first wave. That's absolutely, that's huge. That's huge. Like, that is going to be a surprise from the side of Air and Babista if they're not ready for it.
Oh, they'll see if they press tab. There's one CS onto Never Lucky. So maybe they have a bit of information
down
about
as well.
That. Yeah, plus the ward's gone.
Yeah, they could literally see that happening, but it's just like, if you don't think about it, a lot of people don't tend to think about it. A lot of people don't even know that killing a ward gives XP. So, well, they should at this level, at least. So let's hope they're ready for it. But that's just a small lead that can help you in the early game as well. That could help tip the balance over in your favor as well, specifically when you need it in the early game, as we talked about around these junglers.
Level 2 now been hit by Air. Did obviously start with the... forgotten the name of it. Start with the Buster Shot. Not the Buster, stop the Satchel. The Explosive Charge. There you go, got it.
How's those
It's been a long day, my dude. Started with that, so obviously has a bit of shove in the lane due to that.
Yeah, and Tierstar from never lucky, so he's not per se playing for lane. Like Tierstar is definitely still fine. Divine, oh my god, taking a lot of damage down here. Feathers, if those had hit, would almost be forced to cleanse because level 2 had not come through from blue either. And with the junglers mimicking each other by going to the opposite side, we should expect that Tano would be able to actually get a scuttle this time around. Then we could go back to a bit more standard pathing between the junglers, where they could be looking to either go for 2 clears, as we saw them do last game, or just go for that reset, get out of the map, and see where you can influence one of the lanes.
At the moment, it's just soul farming in this bot lane. Divine obviously has the Q to be able to piercing shadow, to be able to heal up him and blue as such, and poke tide at the same time. Beautiful. Meanwhile, junglers are both doing their crabs. Tanu's on the bottom side of the map and Camille on the top side, although Tanu may be looking for something onto Air. Air has to be careful because if the miasma goes down, he's in trouble, but the flash, bear slap, going to get cancelled out as the buffer on the rocket jump from Air keeps him alive.
Just really good timing from this side of Air. I don't know if you can change a lot better if the buffer still work in the miasma before it goes down. I guess it would still, so Air just doing a good job knowing his limits on the champion. And, you know, better seen now in the Tristana than getting solo killed as he did before. You can definitely see that this matchup is a bit more comfortable for him. He's allowed to push in the whole time, which is absolutely good for him. And now junglers, reset has come through from the side of Camille, but Tanu is actually opting in for that second clear immediately, so not even backing. So that could have given a bit of a lead going over to Camel, especially if we're looking onto early Drakes again, just because he's not going to have those items to actually come in and contest. The reduction coming in from the ability haste of those Ionian boots are absolutely huge, specifically in the early game around the Lilia Qs. So we could potentially see a coming back from Udyr in a bit, and then them starting up the Drake for the first time. Meanwhile, bot lane though, they are taking a lot of blows.
Yeah, they are taking a lot, but Camel's on the way over. They get the shadow off as, meanwhile, Tanu looking for a little something in the top side of the map. I think the only thing to kind of note about what you were just talking about as far as the jungle clear is Camel's going to be clearing upwards while Tanu's technically clearing downwards, so he is clearing towards the dragon. So that window for Camille to go for it, the dragon being that it, is a little bit lower.
Yeah, but it'd be very beautiful to just see him recall now and then just, you know, go down and path towards the Drake, get a recall through from your bot laners as well, and then just go down and synchronize those resets so you can opt in for the objective. But at the same time, BIFROST with the bot lane, they're doing a really good job at punishing the center Tahm Kench, where they can just poke down the center because they have double range, whereas Tahm Kench is not really doing much in lane. He's just forfeiting it, so therefore they will always have that priority. But I want to see them use that priority. I want to see these early objectives from BIFROST so I can get that stack. And Air jumping in, but Business here.
Yeah, the exhaust is burnt, the flash is burnt, and Air burns nothing. Able to shove that wave in, go for a reset, and teleport back to the lane if needs be. Ruland just being really annoying to blue. And looks like MNM not even fussed by this early dragon. Tanu's going to start it up. No Rifttail to trade out with, and BIFROST, just the pressure they've been able to assert themselves in the bot lane is going to be enough as the teleport has come down, and Swellseed's going to land onto Bruland. Camille's trying to see if he can get close enough. The hook is down. He might just be able to jump over the wall and steal this one away. Can he do it? He's not going to be able to. Tanu is able to get the dragon, gets the lantern to safety in the cast, bumps everyone into the wall. There's the tongue lick, and Air is just resetting after resetting through BIFROST. Dragon traded for 2 kills.
It's just so greedy from the side of BIFROST. You've had the priority in lane. Why are you not the first team to reset and get on the objective? Why are you going for objective before you've reset yourself? Your jungler hadn't reset. Your AD carry hadn't reset. They had TP in mid. It's just MNM coming in here and punishing them. They are playing better around the early game. They're just waiting for BIFROST to make a mistake.
Lovely. That's my assumption. That's my sum up on that. But let's have a little look at the fight again. Tanu just about surviving thanks to that smite. But then dies anyway.
Yeah, Flashy's even come out there from Tide as well. Just gets knocked into the wall. Brolin, luckily still a bit tanky, does have the aftershock, so he's not going to be able to go down there and kill him. Doesn't even have to Oh, he does actually have the buster shot, so could have potentially gotten him if he got one more auto weaved in, but big lead going over to MNM in the early game. And yes, they forfeit the first Drake, but they're honestly happy with that exchange.
So we have a look back into this top lane. Babisa had this matchup twice in a row now, and early in that last game, he actually handled it very well. I think he actually handled it well all throughout, even when Kez kind of got to the point where he was just able to out-sustain and just beat him in the 1v1. Babisa's still actually able to handle that lane very well. So we're seeing Air drop him a couple of minions here. There we go.
But Bista, he's not going for the tank build either on Gragas. He's going for the Everfrost where he can actually be a nuisance and deal damage. Just to have that extra damage profile. Right now on the team, MNM, if he went for that tank, he would have some pseudo AP damage, but Camel would be the main source of AP damage coming in. So now they just have a bit more. Together with the Senna, there's just scaling up on the souls and automatically, obviously, as the Senna does. But they're not done in the bot lane. They still want to try and punish them, and they are still losing out on these trades.
They are indeed, although Divine does have a lot of range. Bruland maybe looking for that hook. It's going to land onto Blue, and I think Blue's just going to have to give his life up here. See his bot back, although Divine's doing a lot of damage. Blue will finally fall as Tanu now switching into the bear stance onto Divine. Quick cleanse. A lot of damage from that Phoenix stance. Tank, by the way. And Divine, no railgun available, so doesn't actually have any real kill pressure. And needs to be quite careful. His team aren't even remotely close. There's no teleports available, so Divine just has to call this one. I say that, and a teleport's coming in from Blue. So Blue's looking to rejoin. But the hook not going to hit.
Yeah, no TPs up either from the rest of the team, so they're just going to be backing up. But meanwhile, while this exchange is happening, they are taking the Rift Herald. So Camel has just gotten that. And I gotta say, Rift Herald users been a bit better this series than it was in our previous series. MNM been doing a really good job at putting out these resources as to where they want them, but no plates are low right now. Dragas haven't been able to go up and punish any plates. Bot lane have been pushed in all the time from the side of Divine, and yeah, they have been pushed in mid lane, but never enough for Air to actually go up and try to get some of that plating down. So what you can do is just play around the priority you get in the mid lane, let Air and Camel move together to a side lane and try to threat a dive, or at least force the enemy to back so you can set up this Rift Herald.
Constant hooks coming in from Bruland, as though Bruland will take a bit of damage from Divine in the tail end. Divine not being quite back to base yet, and now they're going to swim forward as Blue gets a great little gobble off, and inside Louis Vuitton Poddle as here's the flash, here's the bear stance, here's the CC. Blue puts the shield up, but I don't think he's going to survive this one today, as he is going down.
BIFROST doing a really good job at playing for their bot lane now. Tanu already having way more impact on the Udi, and with those 2 kills, with that going over to the Saya, I would love for them to actually set up their resets for the Drakes this time. What I've heard is that the perfect reset time for Drake is that you go back and recall at around 45 seconds, because that's going to give you enough time to actually come back, place vision, and get the waves pushed out. So if you could do that, you could cash in on those leads you got from that gold and actually set up the Drake. Because remember, even though MNM Gaming got a pretty good lead for 2 kills in the early game around that Drake, BIFROST has been doing a great job at getting those kills back in the bot lane, and they should be on even footing around this next Drake.
Oh, but Bisa hit a minion with his belly bop, so unfortunately for him, 4 members of BIFROST in this mid lane looking to jump onto M and onto Air. Does have the flash, does have the rocket jump, so quite hard to catch this Tristana, very slippery customer. Dragon spawning up though, and that's where the real attention is now for BIFROST. They want to get the second dragon, they want to accelerate the dragons, because that's where they had problems last game. It was MNM securing all of the dragons back to back. And MNM this time round, not even interested in contesting it unless Divine can get a cheeky steal. That was close.
That was really
close. Genuinely very close.
Oh, these Drakes, man, they never go down quietly, do they?
That's how I like it. Now, it looks like Camille and Air are going to make their way over towards his top side, as Babisa's going to slowly work the wave up. Camille's going to take away camp while he waits for his mid laner to come, and Tristana plus Rift Herald means dead tower. Kez plus Will Seed plus Sleep means dead Kez. Tries to hop in, tries to hop out, does have his ultimate to jump away as he pulls in 1 member, but Air's able to take him out. The juggle of the tower aggro is beautiful. As Tanu now needs to be quite careful, as actually Neverlucky's about. Great cast to separate Neverlucky, and it was a good kill by MNM, but it took him a little bit too long to get set up for it. So they won't be able to use that Herald to get any plates right now.
I need to see that replay again, because I'm pretty sure Kess cancelled out the sleep by going into Soul Unbound and then going afterwards. Oh no, TPs are coming in. They might be looking for Never Lucky.
Oh, he's got the Petrifying Gaze. It's dodged away. Air jumps into the miasma. Camille's going low. Can he get the survivability? Can he live? Yes, he can. The Railgun will keep him alive. They got to use that Rift Herald now, though. His plates are falling off, and Rift Herald's about to despawn, so it's been thrown down in the top lane. Tristana with charge. This actually is probably dead here. Yeah, it's dead.
Don't know if it's going to be dead.
Oh, no.
The tower is
Okay.
going to get a lot of resistances now, so I don't think it's going to be dead, but it's going to get a lot of HP and gold over to the side.
Oh, no. Oh, he's okay. He's got help. Babisa? Okay, he's good. He's good.
Oh, this game really doesn't disappoint. Both teams are just looking for a fight throughout the whole time, but as BIFROST, you don't need to be looking for a lot. As long as you can stabilize the game and just stack these strikes, you're doing a great job. And look at the Soul Unbound, Jake. I'm pretty sure because you go untargetable when you go back, he cancelled out the ultimate. That was a pretty nice play from Kez. Doesn't unfortunately doesn't live, but really nice little mechanic coming out from the Yone there into the Lilia.
I realistically, what it did was it bought quite a bit of time for him. Like that like extra second meant that Never Lucky and Tanu were able to get there.
Yeah, but if that Fate Shield had hit as well, it would have been really sick. Never Lucky though with the Flash Petrifying Gaze. It probably looked really cool in his head, but reality is often disappointing, isn't it?
Hey, look, I've seen enough hypey Petrifying Gazes. Nice stuff from MNM, because our main criticism about them in Game 1 was their team fighting was definitely weaker than BIFROST. And at the moment, I haven't really had team fights. We've had skirmishes, and MNM definitely taking the upper end of the trades on these skirmishes.
Once again, it comes down to them being proactive about it. Like, if you are starting to play with the proper setup, most of the time, you're going to be successful in that regard. And that's what MNM has been doing so well. But speaking of setups, they are setting up around this Drake now, and Babista is pretty far forward, but there's no one to pretty much stop him from the bot side unless Tano can stack on him.
He is a AP Gragas, so he's pretty weak. Throws out the Everfrost, and actually the cask back in. They're trying to use the Drowsy, the Lantern, the Flash to keep him safe as everybody makes their way in. They're going to look to lock them down. Tanu surviving through so much, but it's not going to be enough. Camel flashes away, and now Babisa under fire. Here comes Kez, though. Can he find that ulti? No, he cannot. Divine able to escape his grasp. As now Tide making his way forward. Divine trying to dodge away from everything as the feathers are getting called, and Divine will lose his life.
No! He took a tower shot. He had flash. Time.
Oh, what? I missed that.
No! He came out of the feather storm and was still in tower range when he pulled the feathers. He could have flashed.
Absolute tragedy. We're getting a replay just to rub it in.
Alright, so in the beginning, it's actually a pretty good catch on Titano, but I think you're going a bit too far forward here. Like, just be happy with what you got here. You don't have the vision. And the fact that you have to force yourself out with a flash here, making this an even more dire situation when this happens, it's just not the call, especially when you're setting them up for Drake. Because if you get them away from the vision, great. You did it. You set up for Drake. You're in a better situation. But then afterwards here, he's missing out on the second Q, doesn't get the dash. Fate's Heal trying to come in and get the Vine, and he does set it up for Tide. And here you go, Jake. Let's have a look at them damn feathers coming out here. That's the tower shot. Was that? That. And he's flashed. He's got flash.
Just off screen. It was just off screen. Oh, Bruland. That is probably a problematic place for him as he does get the hook, the cleanse, and here's the railgun. Not going to be quite enough, but Tanu will lose his life in the meanwhile. Air able to secure it. And on the back end, a double kill picked up for Air. He has the jumps, a massive Petrifying Gaze, but in comes the rest of the team. They've put the Yone to sleep, and Air is going to look to take him out as Blue secures the kill. The belly bop, it's another for Babista. And MNM taking out 4 members of BIFROST as Tide gets a lick from Blue. And Air just going to start up onto this tower. Blue has to be quite careful. Tide still does a lot of damage, but the charge from Air means this is going to go down, and MNM get their first dragon of the game and their second tower shortly after. I say that, and Tide's actually defended it, so don't worry. They will get it at some point.
Well, that really feels like a bad breaker, Headbrain. Just because back, not specifically about the tower, but the fact that BIFROST's been stacking up the Drakes, and now they're just not winning out on the fact. All right, let me just stop there, because Tano is running down with Vista.
Full tank. Full tank. Able to do that. I will never get over that.
But what I mean by what I say there is that you had that momentum. Yes, you were down in kills, but you always had that. You could fall back to that. Oh, we had the setup around the Drakes. We were starting them up. But as soon as MNM comes in and disturbs that from you, they also take that win condition away from you. That's 5 more minutes that you'll have to wait before you can get back into this. And yes, you have the scaling with the Cashew and the Yone, but every time you give MNM more minutes to play with, it's you losing out on the map. It's MNM that's proactive. It's not you. You're playing very reactive, and you need to find a way to stop this. So I would like for them to actually start to set up some proper skirmishes, set that vision up instead, and actually be the team to be proactive instead of being so reactive the whole time.
Yes, absolutely. Now, as we're at that 18-minute mark, we see the gold lead is 4,000 exactly, separating these teams. Kraken Slayer, Phantom Dancer onto Air. Divine has finished up his Kraken Slayer and the Rage Knife, meaning that does get that extra bit of kind of crits as Never Lucky, Petrifying Gaze, as he is bopped away by Babista. Babista happy to trade ulti for ulti there. I'm curious to see whether or not Divine goes for the Rapid Fire Cannon second, now that he's got the Rage Knife, or if he does finish up the Rage Blade. I've seen a couple of different centers over the time. Centers being back on this fasting center meta. Mostly, people go for the Rage Blade second and finish that up, but some people just take the Rage Knife and then just go for Rapid Fire Cannon and just play the range game.
There was a caster we spoke to who said that on this patch it should be outdated and just straight up going for the crit should be better, but I can't remember who it was, and I might just be talking out of my ass at this point, but I'm pretty sure I heard someone say that.
I think I do remember that, actually. I think it was Orcs. Or it might have been Jamada, but Jamada can correct me on that one.
Wait,
there was
about that.
I remember there was someone who did the maths on it and was like, nah, crit's just better now. But
was it when we played with Munch and Medic? Was it Medic?
It was Medic. It was Medic, actually, but we might have to hold that as a, there's a shutdown. Air in a bit of trouble, but able to survive this one.
Oh well, Never Lucky trying his luck again against this Raggers. Petrifying Gaze could come down this time.
Oh, he's got it this time. Here's the railgun. Never Lucky. Looks like this time you were pretty lucky.
All right, never say never. Not even if you're called Never Lucky. And with that pick, they're just going to start this straight. Baron, vision control, not really in favor of them. Right now, they do have the intel MNM that this is going down, but they are moving everyone up here and they want to go for this fight.
Yeah, teleports are coming in. Kez is going to look for Divine to try and find something, but taking a lot of damage. His Air looks to jump onto him, and that's going to be Kez jumping away. Blue trying to put this damage in, but Baron is already 3k health. This is just a tidy-up job here for MNM as Tanu caught inside the pit by the root from Divine, but a great miasma zoning him away, and now Kez trying to jump in forwards. Has that soul unbound, but no ultimate available. Tide jumping away. Can he get over the wall? Yes, he can, but Air will continue the chase. The belly bop connects, and now the health bars are so low. Air's dodging away from the Petrifying Gaze as he does get a bit of extra damage off, almost getting a double kill. We'll find a response here. It's a double kill onto Air. They take 4 members of Bifrost down, and it's only Never Lucky with the Baron.
And I don't know if that is worth... Yes, you get a lot of gold coming into this one, but you lose so much pressure out of the map. Now it's probably going to be this top tower going down with the Tristana coming in as well, and it's going to be the mid lane being pushed in. It's going to be the setup around the Drake. It's just all the map control that you could be building up has just gone straight out of the window, and with Drake spawning in less than 1 minute, that is surely also going away from Bifrost and over to the hand of MNM game. And let's take a look onto the replay again, Jake, because I think you can even take a look onto Never Lucky. He spent all his mana trying to burst down this Baron, so they can't go for this fight. As soon as the Baron is down, you need to go out of it, and actually Never Lucky flashing to steal away the Lantern from Tide, so he'll have to flash over the wall himself here instead. And I actually thought they were going to be able to get out of the way here, but Air aggressively flashing forward. Tide trying to duel him here. Not enough.
Not enough indeed as Abyssal Voyage comes in. Remember, Tide is flashless, he is ultless, and he is down. 8-4. 8-0-4. Air on the Tristana. Absolute corker of a performance from him. MNM. They've been here before. They know this dance.
Oh, this is
They know
just crazy.
relegations.
Yeah, apparently they do. And Jake, I for sure was not the person who thought MNM was going to make it out of this. I thought they looked like the weakest team coming into this relegation tournament. And I think a lot of analysts did as well, as we heard about the deaths. But they're not backing down. They're looking really good, and they're not done yet.
Yeah, well, they are going to actually catch two with that Fate Seal. Divine flashes away, but it's not going to be enough. Kez able to take him down. A great hit from Brulan onto Blue. Blue does have that shield to work with, and now Camille's coming in with the 3-man lilting lullaby. They're all going to sleep, but Camille in the middle of 4 will lose his life. Didn't have the carry, didn't have the Tristana, and that was the difference maker this time.
Yeah, and with that, you actually still have the Baron buff with Never Lucky, so they are pushing up mid lane with Baron up minions, which can help you a bit, but I think they can only get 1 turret out of it. Minion wave is falling down, and then you'd probably have to reset. Try to pick up on the side lanes, and then see if you can replicate one of these picks coming out, either with a death sentence, or try to gain the pressure away on the other side of the map, so you can fight when air is not around, because it seems like that's the winning recipe.
Yeah. And I mean, I was the one that said it, by the way. I was the one that I said, I think MNM looked like the weakest team in the relegations. I said, prove me wrong. And so far, they are proving me wrong. When we came into today, we all kind of had a similar expectation, but Dusty were going to win their series, probably 2-1 versus Galaxy Racer, and then MNM were just going to get 2-0'd by Bifrost. And game 1 was competitive. It was ultimately Bifrost favored, but it was still very competitive. Game 2, MNM just completely walked over Bifrost. Game 3, I think we're back to a more competitive game, but MNM are the ones who seem to have found their footing. They found their tempo, and they're kind of playing with that. Both teams have 2 dragons now at this point, so a fair few resistances starting to stack up onto MNM. If they can get 4, they're in a pretty nice place. A great Everfrost, actually. Gonna land onto Tanu to make sure he can't connect with his bear slap. And MNM just looking to take down this final turret, but it's causing them a little bit of problems.
Yeah, and difference between game 3 and this game is that, as you said yourself, MNM found the footing. They have started stacking up these strikes themselves, and they were ahead at the start of the first game as well, but it was Bifrost who came back through team fighting. And you'd have agency in your kit right now, in your composition, to make a team fight work as well. Flash Petrifying Gaze, the Fate Sealed, the follow-up from Tide with the feathers in the background, but it's about making that engage happening, and right now MNM is not giving them a single chance to do it. They're holding them in an iron fist, keeping the lanes pushed out, making sure they cannot go into their own jungle to get any single camps here. But it's not going to stop Tanu and Tide. They are looking onto air.
Yeah, they're going to use the Gale Force forwards. Divine's coming about to try and keep him alive, but they flash onto Air, and Air is just going to lose his life. A shutdown, a
Huge.
big old juicy shutdown for Tide. 1k in the pocket. And Air just too greedy. And that's a 41-second death timer. He'll be up for Baron, but just about.
Yeah, that's going to be 1,600 that Tide can go back and spend onto items as well. And yeah, as you said yourself, a bit greedy resets came through from his teammates, but he decided to stay one more wave in mid lane and was just punished for it. The flash bass slap from Tanu is just enough, and it's one of the reasons Udyr is so goddamn obnoxious, isn't it? Like, even if you rocket jump away, even if you were to flash away, he's just still sticking onto you. But with that said, Air did still have to botch the shot, did still have to flash. And Tanu just punishing the fact that he was not willing to use them.
Yeah. Again, just greed. That's what it boils down to. Just a greedy play by Air. He has now respawned. 15 seconds until this Baron is up. And you know you're pretty fed when you get shut down and you're still worth a shutdown. And it's even a good shutdown as well. It's worth 300 gold extra. There's a 600 gold kill onto Air if they can find him. So he is honestly he is worth it. He is a golden goose for them right now.
Yeah, absolutely crazy though. If you take a look at the 280 carries, 2,000 gold lead from the side of Tide, but you have to keep in remember that a lot of the gold value in Senna is in her souls, which you cannot value by gold. Like the extra range you get, the crit, all something that can't really be measured that way, but definitely Tide one level ahead with the 2 items, 2.5 actually, in a pretty good spot. Death Sentence comes out.
Oh, there's a lot of people who can get put to sleep here, though. Never Lucky misses the Petrifying Gaze. The box is up, and Brulan's going to take a lot of damage. Gets a good hook as a railgun cuts through the members. Tanu gets himself a kill onto Camille. Tide has to use the Feather Storm. Health bars a little bit low on both sides, but Divine still able to fire away. That is a big Fate Sealed, but it's not enough to stick any more damage. The hooks land onto minions, and Air is untouched still. He's firing onto Kez. He's got himself the kills. He's now got the reset onto the hop, but BIFROST still looking to keep themselves in this fight, still looking to keep themselves alive. Health bars are just painfully low for them right now. With the Honey Fruit spawning up, MNM can actually heal off the back of that and the Senna. No jungle available to MNM. Well, BIFROST do have Tanu, but looks like they're going to start this one up. The flash not available to Tanu. There is a blast cone for him to get over the wall. They need to pull it out. But I don't think MNM want to risk this. I think they want to find Tanu first, and they know where he is. He now blast cones to rejoin up with his team. Camille's back on the map, so he's making his way over. Teleport available to the Yone as well, so the fight for Dragon is not done yet. We are probably going to have another 5-on-5 any moment now.
That's the thing. 4 seconds. Lilia is going to be there at the same time the TP is going to channel, so I think they're definitely going for another fight. Here they come.
There's the cast, gone to a couple of members. Tanu's trying to make his way forward. Can they get it in time? It's going to be secured by MNM. The Petrifying Gaze lands. Kez is doing so much damage as they found themselves the shutdown. But Beast are looking to run away. Everybody's asleep. And Camille is doing a lot of work, but he's finally taken out. Blue, 1 versus 2. Can he do this? Actually, it's Kez's 1 versus 2. Blue gobbles up his top. The cask is there. MNM, find the ace.
And I am absolutely speechless after that fight. A huge Petrifying Gaze coming out from Neverlucky that looked to solidify the game, but Camille with an absolutely beautiful Lilia ultimate into the Sonyas to pick up the kill onto Tide. Let's take a look onto the fight again. In the beginning, Camille coming in and finally taking revenge on those Drake steals, and then take a look at that 3-man Petrifying, not Petrifying Gaze, but Lilting Lullaby coming in into the flash, into the queue afterwards, making them so low as well. Even getting the kill with the passive Camel in the background, realistically 1v3, getting a double kill. And then afterwards, it becomes this really close fight between the Yone and the Gragas and the Tamkench. But in the end, they're just too tanky for him to cut through them. But that could have gone either way.
Really could have. And you know, the clutch thing is Babista lived because of the Mountain Soul. Like, he was so low, if they didn't have that soul, Babista probably would have died without those extra resistances.
Yeah, that's actually true. That's mind-boggling to think about, but that is absolutely true. And if they're out to take the next one, that's the Mountain Soul with 4 Mountain Drakes. That's crazy. That's crazy, Jake.
That is a lot of resistances, because Babisa built the other Frost, but then has gone full tank. Got the Random Omen, got the Spirit's Visage in the infantry as well. As a hook does land onto him, but he, again, like I said, pretty tanky right now, so can't really do too much to him. Divine's going to clear out some of this Baron Vision. And with the Dragon down for 3 minutes, all attention, all eyes turn towards the big purple worm.
And it's definitely a desperate situation for both teams. You feel like you can win this. Both teams feel like they're in position to win a fight. It's going to come down to the mechanical skills in these team fights. So both teams are sitting on the edge, just waiting for that perfect time to initiate the fight.
And that is the initiation, but Divine's getting jumped onto, able to flash away from Kez. The Lilting Lullaby is only buying space. The Petrifying Gaze and the Railgun has already been fired out. A massive Everfrost by Babista means Never Lucky is going to get slammed by Camille. Tanu jumps on the back line. The Phoenix stance is ripping through them, though. MNM have just thrown the fight. It's a triple kill for Tide. Oh, my Lord, MNM. It just went so wrong.
Tide, you freaking madman. Holy smoke, that goddamn Featherstorm just flashing into the enemy team to just rip them apart. What did I just witness?
Now, I don't think they can win the game off this, because they can definitely take an inhibitor and turn that into a Baron, although there is some vision for MNM. They do have teleports up on 3 members when they respawn, so straight into Baron's quite hard, as there are a couple of wards are in the area for MNM to teleport to, but BIFROST are going to go for this one, and Blue's up in a minute, Air's up in a minute.
TP's up with 3 members. You don't go for this.
Look at that pink.
No, don't go for this. Don't go for this. Please do not go for this.
It's going to be so close. They know it's going on. Are MNM going to commit the teleport?
It's actually going down pretty fast. So, TPs are coming in now, but this should just be the Baron gone. They're coming in too late. They can get this Baron and get out.
Yeah, it was a bit of a sloppy teleport. They do get the Everfrost onto multiple members. Tide's getting jumped onto. Air looks to try and chase onto him as the Fate Sealed has been used, and a great interrupt as he is going to use the ulti to clear over the wall to safety. They use the ulti by Blue, who brings Air in, looking for Kez. Kez is actually taking so much damage from Air. He just jumps in forwards. They're looking for the knockup. Air's going for the outplay. Air's not going to get it. Tide finds the kill. The shard shuts him down, though. 1 for 1, but Baron in the pocket of Bifrost.
I cannot believe what's going on right now. These teams are playing like it's the goddamn finals they're playing, and we are going into the replay. I hope it's the first game we get into. Yes, it is. Camel being the initiator with the Swirling Seed, once again finding a nice pickup onto 2 member key targets here, getting Tide down realistically. And then Keys in the background, getting them fairly low, but Tide, you need to take a look onto this Sai right now, because he's an absolute madman. Look what he does with the Feather Storm here. Just crushes it, flashes into the enemy team to pick them up together with the Udyr. That's absolutely crazy to turn a fight around like that. That's usually the ultimate. He used as a disengage, but Tide being creative, finding an aggressive use for it.
Now Dragon is up, and MNM just aren't in position to contest it, so both teams now will move on to Soul Point. MNM not willing to risk that. Now the gold you can see on your screens right now.
It's absolutely...
It's 100 up for Bifrost.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
So close.
It's absolutely crazy, Jake. And with this...
that last fight was... You know, Camille got a good sleep, but there just wasn't really any ability to follow up. That was the kind of key thing, is they slept. The members, you just didn't have to worry about it. As the Lilting Lullaby is going to land into the Fate Seal. The Railgun onto Kez. Kez is already dead. Tanu's next up on the menu. The Flash, the Petrifying Gaze, the Cast to follow. Here's that Featherstorm again. But it's Air and Divine, who are still alive, and now the Tide not going to go down today. Once again gets a triple kill.
And Tide has just completely turned into an absolute monster, just carrying these fights from the side of Bifrost. It looked dire for them, but no matter what, he's that reliable carry they have in the background. And he's shredding up these members. He's shredding out these stories. He's taking the inhibitor. And Jake, I think they might be looking for the game here if they're feeling bold.
Air's trying to heal up desperately so he can do this. They've still got Baron in their pockets. Air and Blue have to somehow make this work. The hook is down. The Baron minions are hammering away at the tower. The Nexus has been left exposed, and I think MNM are out of options, but they're going to try for it. Bruland is going to lose his life, but the Nexus will die first. MNM are knocked down into the loser side of this bracket, and Bifrost 1 win away, 1 series away from making it into the NLC.
That's crazy. That's crazy. What a way to finish off the evening. Holy moly. That's absolutely crazy. What an amazing game to come out on. It was not the most perfect game, but this is why I love when we get down to this level on ERLs. This is why I love the Telia leagues, that if you've not been following, this is the kind of close game you get between the two teams, especially in the best of 3 where we see these adaptations coming through. First game, all right, that was pretty competitive, but Bifrost takes it. Second game, very dominated by MNM. And this third game with the adaptation coming into the draft, coming into Tide in these team fights, just highlighting how much of an AD carry player he is, and how reliable he is, how much he evolved over the past season, because he's been in the Nordic for such a long time as well.
Yeah, honestly, really, really good game there for Bifrost. A really good series for them. But also, I think MNM can walk away going, okay, we are not as bad as we were in NLC. Yes. I retract my statement I made at the beginning of game number 1. I do not think MNM are the weakest team in the relegations. I think they actually genuinely have a good chance of requalifying, but it is now a longer road. It is a harder road, and more games have to be played by them to have that chance. But that's it. They lose 1 more series and they are out. Now, we're going to throw over to our desk to break down that game, this series, and the day. Over to you, X-Scoundrel.
Thank you very much, Hiprain. And yes, with that loss, we are guaranteed to lose an NLC team from the NLC, and we are guaranteed to gain a new NLC team after the series tomorrow. That is a big, big win. And obviously, Bifrost, look, it didn't look clean. It looked messy as hell. And one of the things that Bifrost, I think, definitely need to get to grips with is their early game for sure, because they made some crazy errors. But my God, team fighting, especially from Tide, my God, that man.
I just really hope Bifrost, after this one, tied a 3-hour-long massage for his back.
Yeah.
Because damn, it must be really hurting after carrying 4 people on it this entire late game. It was literally fight after fight after fight, where he played his absolute heart out. He outplayed everything in the kitchen sink thrown at him. He was an absolute madman on these fights, and I just want to give huge props to MNM, because as Heaprin said, he doesn't think it's the worst team in the relegations bracket. I actually think that this MNM had chances of not even being relegated in the NLC playing like this, because they actually look like a proper team. I don't know how much time they've had together, I don't know how much time they've had to gel, but this looks extremely promising.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
We're doing it all.
We echo
We're
the
doing it
same
all.
thing, because we know. I feel, honestly, if you're rooting for MNM here, you feel really bad, right? Because I think this game in particular, it could have swung either side of the pendulum. It's just, at the end of the day, MNM, it turned into a game of no longer macro, but the fights turned into mechanics checks. And unfortunately, at the key fights where there was the most to gain, Bifrost came out on top, and that was just kind of the defining factor, because MNM did win a couple of those skill check fights, but they didn't gain multiple towers, they didn't gain Baron, they didn't gain impactful neutral objectives.
I think MNM, or rather Bifrost, MNM can take solace with their 15 minutes, first 15 minutes of every game they played, but they just need to learn to convert it. They need to learn to close out or gain further leads in the mid game, because their early game was actually really promising and really good. And I think Camille actually played super well over the series too. Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look at the clip of the day then. Let's take a look at the clip of the game that we had from this series. I don't know which of you are breaking it down to surprise me.
Surprise!
No, I wanted to leave it back, but it is Professional Mother. I am back. And I think for most of us, this was probably the most entertaining fight. There's not even really a whole bunch to break down, but I will do my best to break down the micro stuff going on in this fight. So teams are kind of just jostling at the moment for mid lane priority surrounding the Baron buff. And you can see the Death Sentence here comes out, lands on to the Gragas, and it kind of just forces blue to EM up. But there was also a Swell Seed, which critically lands onto 2 very key members, actually. Thresh, who can provide safety for somebody like the Cassio, but also critically the Xayah. And it kind of temporarily separates the fight, but Keys is on the back line, and he's got the Senna in his eyes. He's got him already knocked up. He goes for the ultimate, but he unfortunately gets flashed away from. And all the while on the backside, we obviously have these guys sleeping, and they're not actually able to add anything to this fight. And once I see the Cassiopeia locked in like this, gets Everfrosted as well, the fight just kind of looks like it's potentially going to be over for Bifrost without this key DPS dealer, but fortunately has the stasis in pocket, and just keep our eyes on Tide. Flashes forward, brings all the feathers forward, backwards, I beg your pardon, and just demolishes the entirety of MNM practically by himself with the feathers he had laid down. The stopwatch buys time for Camille, but realistically, it's kind of not enough. And MNM weren't really able to find lethal outside of the Cassiopeia because of how much CC she got chucked into her. So it was just a really good fight played by Tide, where he recognized he could actually flash forward aggressively to drag in all of that damage, all of that CC on top of just about every member of MNM.
Honestly, you see your mid lane dead, your Thresh has just hooked a minion in front of him, so he can't peel for you. Your top laner is dead. You see 5 members of the opponent team full HP, and what do? You move forward? No, that's a psychopath player, and honestly, full props to him.
Hey, look, sometimes a psychopath play is what you need. We actually have an interview with someone from Bifrost standing by. I believe it is with their coach. And I'm going to try and get this name right, just to want to make sure I don't want to mess it up. But is it Lee Ju-ho?
Yes, very correct.
Cool, thank you. I just wanted to make sure I got it correct. Congratulations, first of all. It does mean that you are now going into the series tomorrow versus Galaxy Racer. You already have beaten them in the Telia Masters finals, so now you're going into another best of 5. And it also means we're guaranteed a Telia Masters team in the NLC next season, which is a pretty huge deal, I think, overall. This series, though, it definitely was a little bit swingy. There was definitely some moments that it looked like it could go either way. Something that surprised us as well was MNM first 15 minutes. It looked much better than they had done in the NLC in the entirety. And you guys did look a little down and out in some of the early games. Is that something that is a weakness that you want to work on? Is it something that you expected? Do you know that your strengths are more coming into the late game? Like the way that these games played out, is it the way you envisioned it?
Far from. I would say we're playing far from what we expected us to do. But I think it's very much a mix of being really, really nervous, but also being unprepared. I think it's almost an impossible task to be able to prepare against a team that hasn't played since patch 11.3 and with new jungler and new AD coming in. But I think mostly the nervous part really played a factor. Like I talked to the guys obviously after the game, and I could just hear like my mid laner haha just saying that it's really, really hard to play when like his hands were shaking from being nervous. So hopefully it gets better as we progress into tomorrow's series.
I mean, you've already played Galaxy Racer, so you already have an idea about how they play, right? You have the head-to-head, so that might give you a bit of confidence going into that series, which obviously will be a best of 5 for the NLC spot. Specifically, something that we noticed was a major strength for you guys, something that really helped you out getting those wins, was your late game team fighting mechanical play, like especially from Tide. Like the guy seems like an absolute monster. Is that something that you would consider like a major strength of BIFROST, like just the ability in the late game to know that these guys have got the in-game decision making to play those really important team fights out well?
It definitely helps, I'd say. I think we are really mentally strong when it comes to these situations. Like we have the courage to just to give it all we got, give it 110% when it comes to these late game team fights. We know very much about like when a fight is good and when a fight is bad, and I think that's one of our key strengths, especially going into late game team fights. And I mean, Tide today is just a huge monster, or a psychopath. I'm not quite sure what he ate for breakfast, but he's popping off.
He absolutely was. Something that was also talked about in draft, which is, I guess, to get your perspective, the Lilia, which became a little bit of a crux for MNM, but also something that you didn't really want to pick up. There was an opportunity when they picked Tristana for you to pick Lilia. Is that something that you wanted MNM to have, or is just something that you weren't really comfortable with slotting into your compositions?
I really don't want to say too much about it because there is potentially a chance that we're going to meet MNM again. But we had obviously considered the situation where we would take Lilia ourselves and play that, but we figured that not taking Lilia would give us even better opportunities progressing into the draft, going into second phase, and so.
It was more, so it was more of a decision to say, okay, we're fine with MNM having it, basically. We think we can get advantages elsewhere, which that definitely makes a lot of sense. But obviously, congratulations. I really hope you guys rest up, ready for tomorrow, because you are now just one series away from NLC promotion. And of course, the guys talked about it. Your journey would not stop there. The next split, you have European Masters that you could potentially contend for. So this is just the first step for BIFROST, I'm sure, in what could be a very, very... I guess, illustrious road all the way to the very top of the European scene. So this is the first step you're taking. Congratulations. And you meet Galaxy Racer again tomorrow. We'll see you there.
Thank you.
The guys from BIFROST, definitely a shaky series, but the win, the W is all that counts in these situations. And as I said before, we are guaranteed one NLC team out and one new Telia Masters team in at the very minimum at this point in time. But if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I think we could see two new Telia Masters teams. I think we have two incredibly strong Telia Masters teams in this relegation series. Should we take a look back at today, guys? Should we take a look back at some of the moments from today? That first series, it didn't look good for Dusty, honestly.
Yeah, no, Dusty, there still needs to be some work to be done. And I hope that they can figure out what some of their issues are. Because if not, I think after today's showing from MNM, even though, yes, they of course dropped the series, if I'm pitting these two teams against each other and, you do some results bias, BIFROST beat Galaxy Racers. MNM had a pretty good showing against BIFROST. Dusty lost to Galaxy Racers, so I'm just saying, it's a chain of command here.
Transitive properties coming in big.
yeah, exactly. So I think it's going to be a tough task potentially if we see sort of game 2 / early game MNM transition all of these leads into the mid game and beyond.
I kind of felt like the Galaxy Racer series was kind of like a Jakey diff, and you can't
Yeah.
always rely on that one player to always outplay their opponents, to always try to 1v5, to always give you the lead. They're going to have to find a different way because now teams have seen how they want to play and through who they want to play, and they're going to try to abuse that. Whilst in the series with BIFROST and MNM, they both showed signs that they can't play their compositions, they can't play the late game, they can't play what's given to them and play with the cards they have been given. So I'm actually more impressed about the second series, not necessarily because it went to 3 games, because we saw signs of life from MNM. We saw the early game getting better. We saw the mid game getting better throughout the series. And then BIFROST with these amazing drafts and them not being able to execute on the second one, but then finalizing on the third one, absolute madman of a play from their ADC. So I'm quite thinking here that, you know, we might be having MNM back.
I kind of agree. After today, I feel like it's not unreasonable to say that MNM could make the lower bracket run. I think if Galaxy Racer dropped down, I'm sorry, but I wasn't convinced by the Galaxy Racer series. I think it's tomorrow that they're going to end up playing Bifrost in the rematch. So I think after that series, I'll more or less have sort of my questions answered on where Galaxy Racers may lie sort of in this 4 team stack. But at the moment, I think MNM are probably our second strongest team in relegations right now. At least going off this series. Yeah, I think they look really good.
I think they look much better than they did in the NLC anyway.
Absolutely.
Like the shifts, especially in the early game. We just said they just need to learn to convert. They just need to learn to hit that mid game and convert it a little bit, and somehow sort of capitalize there. Should we take a look at the bracket before we end the show for today? We have again 3 more days of broadcasts coming your way. Tomorrow we have a best of 5 between Galaxy and Bifrost, I believe. Someone might correct me, but I believe it is a best of 5 between Galaxy and Bifrost to decide who will get that NLC spot between our 2 Telia Masters teams. And then following that, we'll have our best of 5 elimination match between Dusty and MNM. And then following that, on Thursday, we'll have the decider match, which will be for the final spot in the NLC, another best of 5. So you've got 3 more days of best of 5s coming your way, and that will wrap up the NLC Spring Split. So, guys, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a wonderful day, and I think for the moment we'll sign off.
See you tomorrow.
Hands up generation, Nintendo education, other kinds of wealth.